And end of the day, you will start to feel, you start to see how wonderful you feel. Okay, this is not the first time I'm doing this. I've done this so many times. And people who have come for this entire 700 verses recital, end of the day, they feel they are so ecstatic and they feel so wonderful. All right. Okay. So is there any questions before we start? Give me a second. Any questions? All right. So, okay. So if there's no question, we can start now. So before that, before we start, so let's offer our pranam. Okay, our pranam and our gratitude to our spiritual master and the distinct. Okay. Om Ajnana Timirandashya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Sri Guruve Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobistam Stapidam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swa Padantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Uttapada Kamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagar Jadam Shahagana Raghunathan Vidam Tam Sajivam Satvaitam Savaduta Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakan Vidamscha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pasachirestharine Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Namine Shri Varshapanavi Devi Daitaye Kripabdaye Krishna Sambandha Vignana Daine Prabhave Namaha Madhuryo Jwala Premadya Sri Rupanuga Bhaktida Shri Gaura Karuna Shakti Vigrahaya Namostute Namaste Gauravani Shri Murtaye Dinatarine Rupanuga Virda Pasidanta Dvanta Harine Namo Gaura Kishoraya Sakshat Vairagya Murtaye Vipralambara Sambodhe Padambu Jayate Namaha Namo Bhakti Vinodaya Sachidananda Namine Gaura Shakti Swarupaya Rupanuga Varayate Gaura Virbhava Bhume Stom Nidasa Sajjana Priya Vaishnava Sarubhauma Shri Jagannatayate Namaha Panchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bevacha Paditanam Pavinebhyo Vaishnavebhayo Namo Namaha Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gaurati Se Namaha Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam Bhakta Rupa Swarupakam Bhakta Avadaram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakta Shaktikam He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Jayatam Suratau Pangur Mama Manda Matirgati Mat Sarvasva Padambo Javrada Madana Mohanau Divyat Vrindaranya Kalpadrumadaha Srimad Ratnagara Singhasanasto Srimad Radha Srila Govinda Devo Prashtalibi Sevya Manosmarami Sriman Rasa Rasarambi Vamsivata Tatastita Karshan Venus Vanir Gopir Gopinata Yasri Estuna Apta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sudhe Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Shivashari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. So everyone, let's do it together 3 times. Chant the holy name, the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Om Tat Sat. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna. Okay, now we're going to start to read. So after Saki, who's going to read? Who's the next? Please raise your hand. Okay, Nanda Devi Mataji. Okay. Anybody else? Ram, you like to do? Okay, great. All right. So, okay. So now I'm going to share from here. So we're going to speak on the chapter 1, observing the armies of the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Okay. So then, Saki Mataji, you can start first 10 verses.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, just the slokas or the translation only?
Just the translation. I see
Okay.
from this thing, or you having a book?
Can see.
Huh?
Yeah, can see now.
Okay.
Dhritarashtra said, O Sanjaya, after my sons and the sons of Pandu assembled in the place of pilgrimage at Kurukshetra desiring to fight, what did they do? Sanjaya said, O king, after looking over the army arranged in military formation by the sons of Pandu, King Duryodhana went to his teacher and spoke the following words. O my teacher, behold the great army of the sons of Pandu, so expertly arranged by your intelligent disciple, the sons of Drupada. Here, in this army, are many heroic bowmen equal in fighting to Bhima and Arjuna, great fighters like Yuyudhana, Virata, and Drupada. They are also great heroic powerful fighters like Dristaketu, Chikitana, Kasiraja, Purujit, Kuntiboja, and Shaibya. They are the mighty Yudamanyu, the very powerful Uttamauja, the son of Subhadra, and the sons of Draupadi. All these warriors are very great fighters. But for your information, O best of the Brahmanas, let me tell you about the captains who are specially qualified to lead my military force. There are many other heroes who are prepared to lay down their lives for my sake. All of them are well equipped with different kinds of weapons, and all are experienced in military science.
Yep.
Our strength is immeasurable, and we are perfectly protected by grandfather Bhishma, whereas the strength of the Pandavas, carefully protected by Bhima, is limited.
Okay. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
So, second is Nanda Mataji. Continue from
Hare
11.
Krishna. All of you must now give full support to Grandfather Bhishma as you stand at your respective strategic points of entrance into the phalanx of the army. When Bhishma, the great valiant grandsire of the Kuru dynasty, the grandfather of the fighters, blew his conch shell very loudly, making a sound like the roar of a lion, giving Duryodhana joy. After that, the conch shells, drums, bugles, trumpets, and horns were all suddenly sounded, and the combined sound was tumultuous. On the other side, both Lord Krishna and Arjuna, stationed on a great chariot drawn by white horses, sounded their transcendental conch shells. Lord Krishna blew his conch shell called Panchajanya, Arjuna blew his, the Devadatta, and Bhima, the voracious eater and performer of Herculean tasks, blew his terrific conch shell called Paundra. King Yudhishthira, the son of Kunti, blew his conch shell, the Ananda Vijaya, and Nakula and Shahadeva blew the Sughosha and Manipushpaka. That great archer, the king of Kasi, the great fighter Skandi, Dhristadyumna, Virata, the unconquerable Satyaki, Drupada, the sons of Draupadi, and the others, O king, such as the mighty armed son of Subhadra, all blew their respective conch shells. The blowing of these different conch shells became uproarious. Vibrating both in the sky and on the earth, it shattered the hearts of the sons of Dhritarashtra. At that time, Arjuna, the son of Pandu, seated in the chariot bearing the flag marked with Hanuman, took up his bow and prepared to shoot his arrows. O king, after looking at the sons of Dhritarashtra drawn in military array, Arjuna then spoke to Lord Krishna these words.
Okay. Ram?
Let me see those who have come here to fight, wishing to please the evil-minded son of Drastatra.
No, 21.
Oh, 21. Oh, okay.
Ah.
Arjuna said, oh, infallible one, please draw my chariot between the two armies so that I may see those present here who desire to fight and with whom I must contend in this great trial of arms. Let me see those who have come here to fight, wishing to please the evil-minded son of
Dhritarashtra. Dhritarashtra.
Drastastra.
Okay, no problem.
Sanjay said, who
Descendant.
this descendant of Bharata,
Bharata.
having thus been addressed by Arjuna, Lord Krishna drew up the fine chariot in the midst of the armies of both parties. In the presence of Bhishma, Drona, and all other chieftains of the world, the Lord said, just behold, Partha, all the Kurus assembled here. The Arjuna could see within the midst of the armies of both parties his fathers, grandfathers, teachers, maternal uncles, brothers, sons, grandsons, friends, and also his father-in-law and well-wishers. When the son of Kunti, Arjuna, saw all these different grades of friends and relatives, he became overwhelmed with compassion and spoke thus. Arjuna said, my dear Krishna, seeing my friends and relatives presence before me in such a fighting spirit, I feel the limbs of my body
Quivering.
and my mouth drying up. My whole body is trembling. My hair is standing on the end. My bow gandiva is spilling from my hand and my skin is burning. I'm now unable to stand here any longer. I am forgetting myself and my mind is reeling. I see only causes of the misfortune, O Krishna, killer of the Kesi demon.
All right. Thank you. Okay. Dr. Parikshit, 31. Who going to do the next? Please raise your hand.
Hare Krishna, bro.
Hare Krishna.
So we continue with text 31.
Yeah.
I do not see how any good can come from killing my own kinsman in this battle, nor can I, my dear Krishna, desire any subsequent victory, kingdom, or happiness. O Govinda, of what avail to us are a kingdom, happiness, or even life itself, when all those for whom we may desire them are now arrayed in this battlefield. O Madhusudana, when teachers, fathers, sons, grandfathers, maternal uncles, fathers-in-law, grandson, brothers-in-law, and other relatives are ready to give up their lives and properties and are standing before me, why should I wish to kill them, even though they might otherwise kill me? O maintainer of living entity, I am not prepared to fight with them, even in exchange for the three worlds, let alone this earth. What pleasure will we derive from killing the sons of Dhritarashtra? Sin will overcome us if we slay such aggressors. Therefore, it is not proper for us to kill the son of Dhritarashtra and our friends. What should we gain, O Krishna, husband of goddess of fortune? And how could we be happy by killing our own kinsmen? O Janardana, although these men, their hearts overtaken by greed, see no fault in killing one's family or quarreling with friends, Why should we, who can see the crime in destroying a family, engage in these acts of sin? With the destruction of dynasty, the eternal family tradition is vanquished, and thus the rest of family become involved in irreligion. When irreligion is prominent in the family, O Krishna, the women of the family become polluted, and from the degradation of womanhood, O descendant of Vrishni, comes unwanted progeny.
Okay. Very nice. Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare
Itigash, 41.
Hare Krishna, Babu.
Hare Krishna.
41. An increase of one unwanted population centrally was alleged life both for the family and for the who destroy of the family tradition. The ancestor of such a corrupted families fall down because the performance for offering them food and water are entirely stopped.
Mhm.
By the evil deeds of the who destroy the family tradition and thus give rise to unwanted children. All kinds of community projects and family welfare activities are devastated. Oh, sorry, sir. Oh Krishna, maintain of the peoples, I have heard by the disciples succession that those whose the family tradition are destroyed were always in hell. Alas, or stranger in is that we are preparing to commit greatly sinful acts, driven by the desire to enjoy royal happiness. We are intent on killing our own kinsmen. Better for me if the son of Dhritarashtra weapons in the hand, whether to kill me unharmed and resisting on the battlefield, resisting on the battlefield. Sanjaya said Arjuna, having those spoken on the battlefield, cast aside his bows and arrows, sat down on the chariot in minds overwhelming with grief.
Overwhelmed with grief. Okay.
Overwhelmed with grief.
All right, Hare Krishna. So we have done chapter 1. Now we are going to chapter 2. So who will be the next to read? Anyone?
Arasi.
Arasi, yes, Mataji. Okay.
Sanjaya said, seeing Arjuna full of compassion, his mind depressed, his eyes full of tears, Madhusudana, Krishna, spoken the following words. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, my dear Arjuna, how have these impurities comes upon you? Impurities comes upon you. They are not at all befitting a man who knows the value of life. They lead not to higher planets but to infamy. O son of Prata, do not yell to this disgrading importance. It does not become you. Give up such petty weakness of heart and arise, O chastisement of the enemy. Arjuna said, O killer of enemy, O killer of Madhu, how can I counter-attack with arrows in battle men like Bhishma and Drona, who are worthy of my worship? It could be better to live in this world by begging than to live at the cost of the lives of great souls who are my teachers. Even though desiring worldly gain, they are superiors. If they are if they are killed, everything we enjoy will be tainted with blood. Tainted with blood. Nor do we know which is better, conquering them or being conquered by them. If we killed the sons of Drodastara, we should not care to live. Yet they are now standing before us on the battlefield. Now I am confused about my duty and have lost all compassion because of mystery weakness. In this condition, I am asking you to tell me for certain what is best for me. Now I am your disciple and a soul surrounded unto you. Surrounded unto you. Please instruct me. I can find no means to drive away this grief which is drying up my sense. I will not be able to dispel it even if I win a prosperous, unrivaled kingdom on earth with seniority like the demigods in heaven. Sanjaya said, having spoken thus, Arjuna, caster of enemy, told Krishna, Govinda, I shall not fight and fell silent, O descendant of Bharata. At that time, Krishna, smiling in the midst of both the armies, spoke the following words to the great stricken Arjuna.
All right. Thank you.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Next.
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Babu. Yes.
We give opportunity for this first.
Okay.
Anybody else want to read? It's very auspicious.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yes.
Can I Mitra here?
Yes, Mitra, Mataji, no problem. Come.
Okay. The Supreme Personality of Godhead say, while speaking learned words, you are mourning for what is not word of grief. Those who are wise lament neither for the living nor for the dead. Never was there a time when I did not exist, nor you, nor all these kings, nor in the future shall any of us cease to be. As the embodied soul continuously passes in this body, from boyhood to youth to old age, the soul similarly passes into another body at death. A soft person is not bewildered by such a change. O son of Kunti, the non-permanent appearance of happiness and distress and their disappearance in the due course are like appearance and disappearance of winter and summer season. They arise from sense perception or sion of Bharat, and one must learn to tolerate them without being disturbed. O best among men, Juna, the person who is not disturbed by happiness and distress and is steady in both is certainly eligible for liberation. Those who are seer of the truth have concluded that of the non-existent, the material body, there is no endurance, and of the internal soul, there is no change. This they have concluded by studying the nature of both. That which pervades the entire body you should know to be indestructible. No one is able to destroy that imperishable soul. The material body of indestructible, immeasurable, and the internal living entity is sure to come to an end. Therefore, fight or descender of Bharat. Neither he who thinks the living entity the slayer, nor he thinks it saints is in knowledge, for the self-slain, not now is slain. For there is the neither birth nor death.
For the soul, for the soul.
Oh, sorry. For the soul, there is neither birth nor death at any time. He has not come into being, does not come into being, and will not come into being. He is unborn, internal, ever existing, and primal. He is not primal. He is not slain when body is slain.
Okay, thank you.
Thank
Next.
you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Next.
Can I join, Prabhu?
New people. First timer.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Yes. Who's this?
Oh Partha, how can a person who knows that the soul is indestructible, eternal, unborn, and immutable, kill anyone or cause anyone to kill? As a person puts on new garments, giving up old ones, the soul similarly accepts new material bodies, giving up the old and useless ones. The soul can never be cut to pieces by any weapon, nor burned by fire, nor moistened by water, nor wetted by the wind. This individual soul is unbreakable and insoluble and can be neither burned nor dried. He is everlasting, present everywhere, unchangeable, immovable, and eternally the same. It is said that the soul is invisible, inconceivable, and immutable. Knowing this, you should not grieve for the body. If, however, you think that the soul or the symptoms of life will always be born and die forever, you still have no reason to lament, O mighty arm. One who has taken his birth is sure to die, and after that, one is sure to take birth again. Therefore, in the unavoidable discharge of your duty, you should not lament. All created beings are unmanifest in their beginning, manifest in their interim state, and unmanifest again when annihilated. So what need is there for lamentation? Some look on the soul as amazing, some describe him as amazing, and some hear of him as amazing, while others, even after hearing about him, cannot understand him at all. O descendant of Bharata, he who dwells in the body can never be slain. Therefore, you need not grieve for any living being.
Okay, thank you. Next.
I read, Prabhu.
Yes, Mataji.
1 minute, please. Considering your specific duty as a Satriya, you should know that there is no better engagement for you than fighting on religious principles, and so there is no need for hesitation. Partha, happy are the
Partha.
Happy are the Satriyas to whom such fighting opportunities come unsought, opening for them the doors of the heavenly planets. If, however, you do not perform your religious duty of fighting, then you will certainly incur sins for neglecting your duties and thus lose your reputation as a fighter. People will always speak of your infamy, and for a respectable person, this honor is worse than death. The great generals who highly esteemed your name and fame will think that you have left the battlefield out of fear only, and thus they will consider you insignificant. Your enemies will describe you in many unkind words and scorn your ability. What could be more painful for you, O son of Kunti? Either you will be killed on the battlefield and attain the heavenly planets, or you will conquer and enjoy the earthly kingdom. Therefore, get up with determination and fight. Do thou fight for the sake of fighting without considering happiness or distress, loss or gain, victory or defeat. And by doing so, you never incur sin. Thus far, I have described this knowledge to you, though analytical study. Now listen as I explain it in terms of working without fruitive results. O son of Pratha, when you act in such knowledge, you can free yourself for the bondage of words. In this endeavor, there is no loss or diminution, and a little advancement on this path can protect one from the most dangerous type of fear.
Haribol.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Nice. This is very interesting. In this endeavor of bhakti, a little advancement, just a little advancement on this path, it can protect one from the most dangerous type of fear, that is to fall down into animal kingdom. Wonderful. All right. So who's going to do next? Okay. No one? Okay, then I'll do it. Then those who are on, someone sent a message. Please raise your hand. No. Wait, hold on. You'll get a chance. Those who are on this path are resolute in purpose and their aim is one. O beloved child of Kurus, the intelligence of those who are irresolute is many branched. Men of small knowledge are very much attached to the flowery words of the Vedas. That means men of small knowledge are very much attached to the flowery words of the Vedas, which recommended various fruitive activities for elevation to heavenly planets, resultant good birth, power, and so forth. Being desirous of sense gratification and opulent life, they say that there is nothing more than this. In the minds of those who are too attached to sense enjoyment, the material opulence, and who are bewildered by such things, the resolute determination for devotional service to the Supreme Lord does not take place. The Vedas deal mainly with the subject of the three modes of material nature. O Arjuna, become transcendental to these three modes, be free from all dualities and from all anxieties for gain and safety, and be established in the self. All purpose served in a small well can be at once be served by a great reservoir of water. Similarly, all the purposes of the Vedas can be served to one who knows the purpose behind them. You have the right to perform your prescribed duty, but you are not entitled to the fruits of action. Never consider yourself the cause of the result of your activities, and never be attached to not doing your duty. Perform your duty equipoised, O Arjuna, abandoning all attachment to success or failure. Such equanimity is called yoga. O Dhananjaya, keep all abominable activities far distant by devotional service. In that consciousness, surrender unto the Lord. Those who want to enjoy the fruits of their work are misers. The man engaged in devotional service reads himself in both good and bad reaction, even in this life. Therefore, strive for yoga, which is the art of all work. Then who going to do next? Come on, faster. Get ready.
Me, Prabhu. Krishna, Prabhu.
Yes. No, what I'm saying is let the people who have not read first. Then you get a chance.
Okay.
Right. So now, who have not read yet? We have not seen Rajesh Mataji, Mrs. Rajesh, and Manu, Nalini. You want to try? Okay, then we start all over again. Saki Mataji, are you there? Okay, Bhakti Yoga Sen. Okay, Dinesh.
By thus engaging in devotional service to the Lord, great sages or devotees free themselves from the results of work in the material world. In this way, they become free from the cycle of birth and death and attain the state beyond all miseries by going back to Godhead. When your intelligence has passed out of the dense forest of delusion, you shall become indifferent to all that has been heard and all that is to be heard.
Oh, okay, sorry.
When your mind is no longer disturbed by the flowery language of the Vedas, and when it remains fixed in the trance of self-realization, then you will have attained the divine consciousness. Arjuna said, O Krishna, what are the symptoms of one whose consciousness is thus merged in transcendence? How does he speak? And what is his language? How does he sit? And how does he walk? The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, O Partha, when a man gives up all varieties of desire for sense gratification which arise from mental concoction, and when his mind, thus purified, finds satisfaction in the self alone, then he is said to be in pure transcendental consciousness. One who is not disturbed in mind even amidst the threefold miseries, or elated when there is happiness, and who is free from attachment, fear, and anger, is called a sage of steady mind. In the material world, one who is unaffected by whatever good or evil he may obtain, neither praising it nor despising it, is firmly fixed in perfect knowledge. One who is able to withdraw his senses from sense objects, as the tortoise draws its limbs within the shell, is firmly fixed in perfect consciousness. Though the embodied soul may be restricted from sense enjoyment, the taste for sense object remains, but ceasing such engagements by experiencing a higher taste, he is fixed in consciousness. The senses are so strong and impetuous, O Arjuna, that they forcibly carry away the mind even of a man of discrimination who is endeavoring to control them.
Okay. Okay, Litigesh. Oh, Nandamate. Yeah, you read now, 61.
The verse chapter 61. 61.
Yeah.
One was the restrain his senses, keeping them under full control and fix his consciousness upon me is known as a man steady, intelligent. While contemplating the objects of the sense, a person develops attachment for them, and from the such attachment last development, and from the last anger arise. From anger, complete delusion arise, and from the delusion, bewilderment on memory. When a memory is bewildered, intelligence is lost. And when intelligence is lost, one falls down again in the material pool. But a person free from all the attachment and aversion and able to control his sense trouble through the religion principle of freedom can obtain to complete the mercy of the Lord. For one those satisfied in Krishna consciousness, they show the threefold misery of material existence exists no longer in such a satisfied consciousness. One's intelligence is soon well established. One would not contest with the Supreme in Krishna conscious can have neither transcendental intelligence nor a steady mind, without which there is no possibility of peace. And how can there be any happiness without peace? A strong wind sweeps away a boat of the water, even one of the roaming sense of which the mind focus can carry away man's intelligence. Therefore, Almighty once was sense restrained from their objects is certainly or steady intelligent. What is night of for all beings in the times awaking for the sense self-control and this and the times of awaken for all being night for the insertion sage.
Continue.
A person would disturbed by instance flow of desire that enter like a river into the ocean, which is ever being filled but is always still, can alone achieve peace as not the man who strive to satisfy such a desire. A person will give as a give up all desire from sense gratifying gratification, who lives free from the desire, who have given up all the sense of proprietorship and devoid of false ego, is alone can achieve real peace.
All right. Yes, last one.
This is the way of the spiritual and godly life. After attachment, which a man is not bewildered, is one of the third situation ever at hour of death. One can enter into the kingdom of God.
Okay, thank
Hare
you.
Krishna, Hare Bol.
Hare Krishna. So now when you see that chapter 2 is contents of Gita summarized, or what are the things that you can expect in Bhagavad Gita, the entire thing, right? So it's summarized in chapter 2. So now, since we have less people who are volunteering for reading, so I suggest that now we start to per person read one chapter. Is that be okay? So, Saki Mataji, is it okay if we can read one chapter, Karma Yoga? It's only 43 verses.
Can Prabhu, can Prabhu.
Yeah, okay. So that means you're going to read Karma Yoga. Then Ram going to read on chapter 4, the transcendental knowledge. And who wants to follow? Please raise your hand. So so that means you read one chapter. Okay. All right. So you can start. Chapter 3, Karma Yoga.
Arjuna said, "O Janardana, O Kesava, why do you want to engage me in this ghastly warfare if you think that intelligence is better than fruitive work? My intelligence is bewildered by your equivocal instruction. Therefore, please tell me decisively which will be most beneficial for me." The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "O sinless Arjuna, I've already explained that there are two classes of men who try to realize the self. Some are inclined to understand it by empirical philosophical speculation and others by devotional service. Not by merely abstraining from work can one achieve freedom from reaction, nor by renunciation alone can one attain perfection. Everyone is forced to act helplessly according to the qualities he has acquired from the modes of material nature. Therefore, no one can refrain from doing something, not even for a moment. One who restrains the senses of action but whose mind dwells on senses objects certainly deludes himself and is called a pretender. On the other hand, if a sincere person tries to control the active senses by the mind and begins karma yoga in Krishna consciousness without attachment, he is by far superior. Perform your prescribed duty, for doing so is better than not working. One cannot even maintain one's physical body without work. Work done as a sacrifice for Vishnu has to be performed. Otherwise, work causes bondage in this material world. Therefore, O son of Kunti, perform your prescribed duties for his satisfaction, and in that way you will always remain free from bondage. In the beginning of creation, the Lord of the creatures sent forth generation of men and demigods, along with sacrifices for Vishnu, and blessed them by saying, "Be thou happy by this yajna sacrifice, because its its performance will bestow upon you everything desirable for living happily and achieving liberation. The demigod, being pleased by sacrifices, will also please you, and thus by cooperation between man and demigod, prosperity will reign for all. In charge for all various necessities of life, the demigods, being satisfied by the performance of yajna sacrifice, will supply all necessities to you. But he who enjoys such gift without offering them to the demigods in return is certainly a thief. The devotees of the Lord are released from all kind of sins because they eat food which is offered first for sacrifice. Others who prepare food for personal sense enjoyment rarely eat only sin. All living bodies subsist on food, grains, which are produced from rains. Rains are produced by performance of yajna, sacrifice, and yajna is born of prescribed duties. Regulated activities are prescribed in the Vedas, and the Vedas are directly manifested from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Subsequently, the all-pervading transcendence is eternally situated in act of sacrifice. My dear Arjuna, one who does not follow in human life the cycle of sacrifice thus established by the Vedas certainly leads a life full of sin. Living only for the satisfaction of the senses, such a person lives in vain. But for one who takes pleasure in the self, whose human life is one of self-realization, and who is satisfied in the self only, fully satiated, for him there is no duty. A self-realized man has no purpose to fulfill in the discharge of his prescribed duties, nor he has any reason not to perform such work, nor he nor he nor has he any need to depend on any other living being. Therefore, without being attached to the fruits of activity, one should act as a matter of duty, for by working without attachment one attains the supreme. Kings such as Janaka attain perfection solely by performance of prescribed duties. Therefore, just for the sake of educating the people in general, you should perform your work. Whatever action a great man perform, common men will follow. And whatever standard is set by exemplary act, all the world pursues. O son of Pratha, there is no work prescribed for me within all these three planetary systems, nor I am in want of anything, nor have I a need to obtain anything, and yet I am engaged in prescribed duties. For if I ever fail to engage in carefully performing prescribed duties, O Partha, certainly all men would follow my path. If I did not perform prescribed duties, all this world would will be put to ruination. I would be the cause of creating unwanted population, and I would thereby destroy the peace of all living beings. All the ignorant perform their duties with attachment to result. The learned may similarly act, but without attachment for the sake of leading people on the right path. So, as not to disturb the mind of ignorant men attached to the fruitive result of prescribed duties, a learned person should not induce them to stop work. Rather, by working in the spirit of devotion, he should engage them in all sorts of activities for the gradual development of Krishna consciousness. The spirit soul, bewildered by the influence of false ego, thinks himself the doer of activity that are actually carried by the three modes of material nature. One who is in the knowledge of the absolute truth, O mighty armed, does not engage himself in the senses and senses gratification, knowing well the difference between work in devotion and work for fruitive results. Bewildered by the modes of material nature, the ignorant fully engage themselves in the material activities and became attached. But the wise should not unsettle them, although these duties are inferior due to the performer's lack of knowledge. Therefore, O Arjuna, surrendering all your works unto me with full of knowledge of me, without desire for profit, with no claims to proprietorship, and free from lethargy, fight. Those persons who execute their duties according to my injunctions and who follow this teaching faithfully without envy become free from the bondage of fruitive actions. But those who out of envy disregard these teachings and do not follow them regularly are to be considered bereft of the knowledge, befooled and renewed, bereft of the knowledge, befooled and ruined in their endeavor for perfection. Even a man of knowledge acts according to his own nature, for everyone follows the nature he has acquired from the three modes. What can repression accomplish? There are principles of regulate, attachment, and aversion pertaining to the senses and their objection. One should not come under the control of such attachment and aversion because they are stumbling blocks on the path of self-realization. It is far better to discharge one's prescribed duty, even though faulty, than others' duties perfectly. Distraction in the course of performing one's own duty is better than engaging in another's duty to follow another's path is dangerous. Arjuna said, "O descendant of Vrishni, by what is one impelled to sinful acts, even unwillingly, as if engaged by force?" The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "It is lust only, Arjuna, which is born of contact with the material mode of passion and later transferred into wrath, and which is the all devouring sinful enemy of this world. As fire is covered by smoke, as the mirror is covered by the dust, or as the embryo is covered by the womb, the living entity is similarly covered by different degrees of this lust. Thus, the wise living entity's pure consciousness become covered by this eternal enemy in the form of lust, which is never satisfied and burns like fire. The senses, the mind, and the intelligence are the sitting place of this lust. Through them, lust covers the real knowledge of the living entity and bewilders them. Therefore, O Arjuna, best of the Bharatas, in the very beginning kept this great symbol of sin, lust, by regulating the senses and slay this destroyer of knowledge and self-realization. The working senses are superior to dull matter. Mind is higher than senses. Intelligence is higher than the mind. And the soul, is even higher than the intelligence. Thus, knowing oneself to be transcendental to the material senses, mind and intelligence, O mighty armed Arjuna, one should steady the mind by deliberate spiritual intelligence, Krishna consciousness, and thus, by spiritual strength, conquer this insatiable enemy known as lust.
Wonderful. Haribol.
Thanks.
Hare Krishna. Okay. So Ram, are you ready?
Okay, sir. Ready, sir.
Chapter 4, Transcendental Knowledge.
The personality, sir?
Start.
Okay. The personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna said, I instructed this imperishable science of yoga to the Son of God.
Sun God.
Vivasvan, and Vivasvan instructed it to Manu, the father of mankind, and Manu in turn instructed it to
Ikshvaku.
This supreme science was thus received through the chain of disciple succession, and the saintly kings understood it in that way. But in course of time, the succession was broken there, and therefore the science as it is appears to be lost. That very ancient science of the relationship with the Supreme is today told by me to you, because you are my devotee as well as my friend, and can therefore understand the transcendental mystery of these signs. Arjuna said, the sun god Vivaswan is senior by birth to you. How am I to understand that in the beginning you instructed these signs to him?
These signs
To him. The personality of Godhead said, many birth, both of you and I have passed. Both you and I have passed. I can remember all of them, but you cannot. O subduer of the enemy.
Yes.
Although I am unborn and my transcendental body never deteriorates, and although I am the Lord of all living entities, I still appear in every millennium in my original transcendental form.
Yes.
Whenever and wherever there is a decline in religious practice, who descendant of Bharata, and a predominant rise of irreligion, at that time I am descend myself. Descend myself to deliver the pious and annihilated to miscreants, as well as though re-establish the principle of religion. I myself appear millennium after millennium.
Yes.
One who knows the transcendental nature of my appearance and activities does not, upon leaving the body, take his birth again in his material world, but attains my eternal abode. O Arjuna, being free from attachment, fear, and anger, being fully absorbed in me and taking refuge in me, many persons in the past became purified by knowledge of me, and thus they all attain transcendental love for me. As all surrender unto me, I rewarded them accordingly. Everyone follows my path in all respects, O son of Partha. Man in this world desires success in fruitive activities, and therefore they worship the demigods. Quickly, of course, men get results from fruitive work in this world. According to the three modes of the material nature and the work of associate with them, there are four divisions of human society are created by me. And although I am the creator of the system, you should know that I am yet the non-doer, being unchangeable. There is no work that affects me, nor do I aspire for the fruits of action. One who understands this truth about me also does not become entangled in the fruitive reactions of work. All the liberated souls in ancient times act with this understanding of my transcendental nature. Therefore, you should perform your duty following in their footsteps. Even the intelligent are bewildered in determining what is action and what is inaction. Now I shall explain to you what action is, knowing which is shall I be liberated from all the misfortune. The intricacies of action are very hard to understand. Therefore, one should know properly what action is, what forbidden action is, and what inaction is. One those sees inaction in action and action in inaction is intelligent among men, and he is in the transcendental position, although engaged in all sort of activities. One is understood to be in full knowledge, whose every endeavor is devoid of desire for sense of gratification. He is said by sages to be a worker for whom the reactions of work have been burned by the fire of perfect knowledge. Abandoning all attachment to the results of his activities, ever satisfied and independent. He performs no creative actions, although engaged in all kinds of undertakings. Such a man of understanding acts with minds and intelligence perfectly controlled, give up all of sense of proprietorship over the possessions, and acts only for the bare necessities of life. Thus working, he is not affected by sinful reactions. He who is satisfied with gain which comes of its own accord, who is free from duality and does not envy, who is steady in both success and failure, is never entangled, although performing actions. The work of a man who is unattached of the modes of material nature and who is fully situated in transcendental knowledge, merge entirely into transcendence. A person who is fully absorbed in Krishna consciousness is sure to attain the spiritual kingdom because of his full contribution to spiritual activities, in which the consummation is absolute, and that which is offered is of the same spiritual nature. Some yogis perfectly worship the demigods by offering sacrifice to them, and some offer sacrifice in the fire of the supreme Brahman. Some the
unadulterated brahmacharis.
Some the unadulterated brahmacharis sacrifice the hearing process and the sense in the fire of mental control, and other the regulated householder sacrifice the objects of the sense in the fire of the sense. Others who are interested in achieving self-realization through control of the mind and sense offer the function of all the sense and of the life breath as oblations into the fire of the controlled mind. Having accept strict vows. Some become enlightened by sacrificing their possession, and others by performing severe
Severe.
austerities by practicing the yoga of eightfold
mysticism.
Or by studying the Vedas to advance in transcendental knowledge. All these performers who know the meaning of sacrifice become clean or sinful reactions, and having tasted the nectar of the results of sacrifice, they advance toward the supreme eternal atmosphere. Oh, best of the Guru dynasty.
Kuru dynasty.
Kuru dynasty.
Kuru. Yeah.
Kuru dynasty. Without sacrifice, one can never live happily on this planet or in this life. What then of the next? All these different types of sacrifice are approved by the Vedas, and all of them are born of different types of work. Knowing them as such, you will become the liberated. Oh,
chastiser
of the enemy, the sacrifice performed in knowledge is better than the mere sacrifice of material possessions. After all, O son of Pata, all sacrifice of work culminate in transcendent knowledge. Just try to learn the truth by approaching a spiritual master. Inquire from him submissively, and render service unto him. The self-realized souls can impart knowledge into you because they have seen the truth. Having obtained real knowledge from a self-realized soul, you will never fall again into such an illusion. For by this knowledge, you will see that all living beings are but a part of Supreme, or in other words, they are mine. Even if you are considered to be the most sinful of all sinners, when you are situated in the boat of transcendental knowledge, you will be able to cross over the ocean of miseries. As a blazing fire turns firewood to ashes, O Arjuna, so does the fire of knowledge burn to ashes all reaction to material activities. In this world, there is nothing to sublime.
Nothing so sublime.
So sublime and pure as transcendental knowledge. Such knowledge is the mature fruit of all mysticism. And one who has become accomplished in the practice of devotional service enjoy this knowledge within himself in due course of time. A faithful man who is dedicated to transcendent knowledge and who is subdues his sense in eligible to achieve such knowledge, and having achieved it, he quickly attains the supreme spiritual peace. But ignorant and faithless person who doubt the revealed scripture do not attain God consciousness, they fall down. For the doubting soul, there is happiness neither in this world nor in the next. One who acts in devotional service, renouncing the fruits of his actions and whose doubts have been destroyed by transcendental knowledge, is situated factually in the self. Thus, he is not bound by the reaction of work or
Conqueror of riches.
conqueror of riches. Therefore, the doubts which have arise in your heart out of ignorance should be slashed by the weapon should be slashed by the weapon of knowledge. Armed with yoga, ho Bharata, stand and fight.
Haribol. Wonderful, wonderful. Okay, so now the next will be Mitra Mataji, followed by what they call, what is name? Nanda Mataji, then followed by Parikshit Prabhu. Parikshit Prabhu is around?
Yes, bro.
Okay, followed by Parikshit Prabhu. So now it's it's already 8:30. Shall we take a 5 minutes break? Just get up, stretch yourself. After stretching yourself, then have a drink and just come back. Don't leave, huh? Just 5 minutes break. We'll meet again at 8:35. 4 minutes.
Okay, Prabhu, can start.
Hare Krishna. Text one. Arjuna say, O Krishna, first of all, you ask me to renounce work, and then again you recommend work with devotion. Now, will you kindly tell me definitely which is of the two is more beneficial? The personality of Godhead replied, the renunciation of work and work in devotion are both good for liberation, but of the two, work in devotional service is better than renunciation of work. One who neither hates nor desires the fruits of his activities is known to be always renounced. Such a person, free from all dualities, easily overcomes material bondage and is completely liberated. Almighty Arjuna. Only the ignorant speak of devotional service, karma yoga, as being different from the analytical study of the material world, Sankhya. Those who are actually learned say that he who applies himself well to one of these paths achieves the result of both. The one who knows that the position reached by means of analytical study can also be attained by devotional service, and therefore sees an analytical study and devotional service to be on the same level, sees things as they are, merely renouncing all activities, yet not engaging in the devotional service of the Lord cannot make one happy. But a thoughtful person engaged in devotional service can achieve the supreme without delay. One who works in devotional, who is pure soul and who controls his mind and sense is dear to everyone, and everyone is dear to him. Though always working, such a man is never entangled. A person in the divine consciousness, although engaged in seeing, hearing, touching, smelling, eating, moving about, sleeping, and breathing, always knows within himself that he is actually does nothing at all. Because while speaking, equating, receiving, or opening or closing his eyes, he always knows that only the material sense are engaged with their objects and that he is aloof from them. One who performs his duty without attach, surrendering the result unto the Supreme Lord, is unaffected by sinful action as the lotus leaf is untouched by water. The yogi's abiding attachment act with body, mind, intelligence, and even with the sense only for the purpose of purification. The stately, devoted, and soul attains unadulterated peace because he offers the result of all activities to me. Whereas a person who is not in union with the divine, who is greedy for the fruits of his labor, becomes entangled. When the embodied living being controls his natural and mentally renounces all actions, he resides happily in the city of 9 gates, the material body, neither working nor causing work to be done. The embodied spirit, master of the city of his body, does not create activities, nor does he induce people to act, nor does he create the fruits of action. All this is enacted by the modes of material nature. Nor does the Supreme Lord assume anyone sinful or pious activities. Embodied beings, however, are, but rather because of the ignorance which cover their real knowledge. When, however, one is enlightened with the knowledge by which nescience is destroyed, then his knowledge reveals everything, as the sun lights up everything in the daytime. When one intelligence, mind, faith, and refuge are all fixed in the Supreme, then one becomes fully cleansed of misgiving through complete knowledge, and those proceed straight on the path of liberation. The humble sage, by virtue of true knowledge, see with equal vision a learned and gentle Brahmana, a cow, an elephant, a dog, and a dog-eater outcast. Those whose mind are established in sameness and equanimity have already conquered the condition of birth and death. They are flawless like Brahman, and those they are already situated in Brahman. A person who neither rejoices upon achieving something pleasant nor laments upon obtaining something unpleasant, who is self-intelligent, who is undivided, and who knows the sign of God, is already situated in transcendence. Such a liberated person is not attracted to material sense pleasure, but is always in trance, enjoying the pleasure within. In this way, the self-realized person enjoys unlimited happiness, for he concentrates on the Supreme. An intelligent person does not take part in the source of misery, which are due to the contact with the material sense. O son of Kunti, such pleasures have a beginning and an end, and so the wise man does not delight in them. Before giving up this present body, if one is able to tolerate the urge of the material senses and check the force of desire and anger, he is well situated and is happy in this world. One whose happiness is within, who is active and rejoice within, and whose aim is inward is actually the perfect mystic. He is liberated in the Supreme, and ultimately he attains the Supreme. Those who are beyond the dualities that arise from them, whose mind are engaged within, who are always busy working for the welfare of living beings, and who are free from all sin, achieve a liberation in the Supreme. Those who are free from anger and all material desire, who are self-realized, self-disciplined, and constantly endeavoring for perfection, are also of liberation in the Supreme in the very near future. Shutting out all internal sense objects, keeping the eyes and vision concentrate between the two eyebrows, suspending the inward and outward breaths within the nostril, and those controlling the mind, senses, and intelligence, transcendentalists aiming at liberation become free from desire, fear, and anger. One who is always in this state is certainly liberate. A person in a full conscience of me, knowing me to be the ultimate beneficiary of all sacrifice and austerities, the supreme lord of all planet and demigods, and the benefactor and well-wisher of all living entities, attain peace from the pangs of material miseries. Hare Krishna.
Okay, chapter 6.
Oh, yeah, Prabhu, chapter 6. My turn, is it?
I think yours is chapter 7.
Ah, no, my turn, chapter 7, right? Okay, okay.
Is it me, Prabhu?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
Okay.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, one who is unattached to the fruits of his work and who works as he is obligated is in the renounced order of life. And he is the true mystic, not he who lights no fire and performs no duty. What is called renunciation, you should know to be the same as yoga, or linking oneself with the Supreme. O son of Pandu, for one can never become a yogi unless he renounces the desire for sense gratification. For one who is a neophyte in the Eightfold Yoga system, work is said to be the means, and for one who is already elevated in yoga, cessation of all material activities is said to be the means. A person is said to be elevated in yoga when, having renounced all material desires, he neither acts for sense gratification nor engages in fruitive activities. One must deliver himself with the help of his mind and not degrade himself. The mind is the friend of the conditioned soul and his enemy as well. For him who has conquered the mind is the best of friends. But for one who has failed to do so, his mind will remain the greatest enemy. For one who has conquered the mind, the supersoul is already reached, for he has attained tranquility. To such a man, happiness and distress, heat and cold, honor and dishonor are all the same. A person is said to be established in self-realization and is called a yogi or mystic when he is fully satisfied by virtue of acquired knowledge and realization. Such a person is situated in transcendence and is self-controlled. He sees everything, whether it be pebbles, stones, or gold, as the same. A person is considered still further advanced when he regards honest well-wishers, affectionate benefactors, the neutral, mediators, the envious, friends and enemies, the pious and the sinners, all with an equal mind. A transcendentalist should always engage his body, mind, and self in relationship with the Supreme. He should live alone in a secluded place and should always carefully control his mind. He should be free from desires and feelings of possessiveness. To practice yoga, one should go to a secluded place and should lay kusa grass on the ground and then cover it with a deer skin and a soft cloth. The seat should be neither too high nor too low and should be situated in a sacred place. The yogi should then sit on it very firmly and practice yoga to purify the heart by controlling his mind, senses, and activities and fixing the mind on one point. One should hold one's body, neck, and head erect in a straight line and stare steadily at the tip of the nose. Thus, with an unagitated, subdued mind, devoid of fear, completely free from sex life, one should meditate upon me within the heart and make me the ultimate goal of life. Thus, practicing constant control of the body, mind, and activities, the mystic transcendentalist is mind regulated, attains the kingdom of God or the abode of Krishna by cessation of material existence. There is no possibility of one's becoming a yogi or Arjuna if one eats too much or eats too little, sleeps too much or does not sleep enough. He who is regulated in his habits of eating, sleeping, recreation, and work can mitigate all material pains by practicing the yoga system. When the yogi, by practice of yoga, disciplines his mental activities and becomes situated in transcendence, devoid of all material desires, he is said to be well established in yoga. As a lamp in a windless place does not waver, so the transcendentalist, whose mind is controlled, remains always steady in its meditation on the transcendent self. In the stage of perfection called trance or samadhi, one's mind is completely restrained from material mental activities by practice of yoga. This perfection is characterized by one's ability to see the self by the pure mind and to release and rejoice in the self. In that joyous state, one is situated in boundless transcendental happiness, realized through transcendental senses. Established thus, one never departs from the truth, and upon gaining this, he thinks there is no greater gain. Being situated in such a position, one is never shaken, even in the midst of greatest difficulty. This indeed is actual freedom from all miseries arising from material contact. One should engage oneself in the practice of yoga with determination and faith and not be deviated from the path. One should abandon, without exception, all material desires born of mental speculation and thus control all the senses on all sides by the mind. Gradually, step by step, one should become situated in trance by means of intelligence sustained by full conviction, and thus the mind should be fixed on the self alone and should think of nothing else. From wherever the mind wanders, due to its flickering and unsteady nature, one must certainly withdraw it and bring it back under the control of the self. The yogi whose mind is fixed on me verily attains the highest perfection of transcendental happiness. He is beyond the mode of passion. He realizes his qualitative identity with the Supreme, and thus he is freed from all reactions to past deeds. Thus, the self-controlled yogi, constantly engaged in yoga practice, becomes free from all material contamination and achieves the highest stage of perfect happiness in transcendental loving service to the Lord. A true yogi observes me in all beings and also sees every being in me. Indeed, the self-realized person sees me, the same Supreme Lord, everywhere. For one who sees me everywhere and sees everything in me, I'm never lost, nor is he ever lost to me. Such a yogi who engages in the worshipful service of the Supersoul, knowing that I and the Supersoul are one, remains always in me in all circumstances. He is a perfect yogi who, by comparison to his own self, sees the true equality of all beings in both their happiness and their distress, O Arjuna. Arjuna said, O Madhusudana, the system of yoga which you have summarized appears impractical and unendurable to me, for the mind is restless and unsteady. For the mind is restless, the turbulent, obstinate, and very strong, O Krishna, and to subdue it, I think, is more difficult than controlling the mind. Lord Shri Krishna said, O mighty armed son of Kunti, it is undoubtedly very difficult to curb the restless mind, but it is possible by suitable practice and by detachment. For one whose mind is unbridled, self-realization is difficult work, but he whose mind is controlled and who strives by appropriate means is assured of success. That is my opinion. Arjuna said, O Krishna, what is the destination of the unsuccessful transcendentalist who in the beginning takes to the process of self-realization with faith, but who later deceases due to worldly mindedness and thus does not attain perfection in mysticism? O mighty aunt Krishna, does not such a man who is bewildered from the path of transcendence fall away from both spiritual and material success and perish like a raven cloud with no position in any sphere? This is my doubt, O Krishna, and I ask you to dispel it completely. But for you, no one is to be found who can destroy this doubt. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, Son of Pratap, a transcendentalist engaged in auspicious activities does not meet with destruction, either in this world or in the spiritual world. One who does good, my friend, is never overcome by evil. The unsuccessful yogi, after many, many years of enjoyment on the planets of the pious living entities, is born into a family of righteous people or into a family of rich aristocracy. Or if unsuccessful after long practice of yoga, he takes his birth in a family of transcendentalists who are surely great in wisdom. Certainly such a birth is rare in this world. On taking such a birth, he revives the divine consciousness of his previous life, and he again tries to make further progress in order to achieve complete success, O son of Guru. By virtue of the divine consciousness of his previous life, he automatically becomes attracted to the yogic principles even without seeking them. Such an inquisitive transcendentalist stands always above the ritualistic principles of the scriptures. And when the yogi engages himself with sincere endeavor in making further progress, being washed of all contaminations, then ultimately achieving perfection after many, many births of practice, he attains the supreme goal. A yogi is greater than the ecstatic, greater than the empiricist, and greater than the fruitive worker. Therefore, O Arjuna, in all circumstances, be a yogi. And of all yogis, the one with great faith who always abides in me, thinks of me within himself, and renders transcendental loving service to me, is the most intimately united with me in yoga and is the highest of all. That is my opinion. Hare Krishna.
Chapter 7, Knowledge of Absolute. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "Now hear, O son of Pratap, how by practicing yoga in full consciousness of me, with mind attached to me, you can know me in full, free from doubt. I shall now declare unto you in full this knowledge, both phenomenal and numinous. This being known, nothing further shall remain for you to know. Out of many thousands among men, one may endeavor for perfection, and of those who have achieved perfection, hardly one knows me in truth. Earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and false ego. Altogether, these 8 constitute my separated material energies. Besides these, O mighty armed Arjuna, there is another superior energy of mine, which compromise the living entity, who are exploiting the resources of this material, inferior nature. All created beings have their source in these two natures. Of all that is material and all that is spiritual in this world, know for certain that I am both the origin and the dissolution. O conqueror of wealth, there is no truth superior to me. Everything rests upon me, as pearls are strung on a thread. O son of Kunti, I am the taste of water, the light of the sun and the moon, the syllable Om in the Vedic mantra. I am the sound in ether and ability in man. I am the original fragrance of the earth, and I am the heat in fire. I am the life of all that lives, and I am the penance of all ascetics. O son of Pratha, know that I am the original seat of all existence, the intelligent of the intelligent, and the proofs of all powerful men. I am the strength of the strong, devoid of passion and desire. I am sex life which is not contrary to religious principle, O Lord of Bharata. Arjuna. Can scroll down, Prabhu, a bit? Okay, Prabhu. Okay. Know that all state of being, be they of goodness, passion, or ignorance, are manifested by my energy. I am in one sense everything, but I am independent. I am not under the modes of material nature, for they, on the contrary, are within me. Deluded by 3 moods, goodness, passion, and ignorance, the whole world does not know me, who am above the modes and inexhaustible. This divine energy of mine, consisting of 3 modes of material nature, is difficult to overcome. But those who have surrendered unto me can easily cross beyond it. Those miscreants who are grossly foolish, who are lowest among mankind, whose knowledge is stolen by illusion, and who partake of the atheistic nature of demons, do not surrender unto me. O best among Bharatas, 4 kinds of pious men begin to render devotional service unto me: the distressed, the desire of wealth, the inquisitive, and he who is searching for knowledge of absolute. Of these, the one who is in full knowledge and who is always engaged in pure devotional service is the best. for I am very dear to him and he is dear to me. All these devotees are undoubtedly magnanimous souls, but he who is situated in knowledge of me, I consider to be just like my own self. Being engaged in my transcendental service, he is sure to attain me, the highest and most perfect goal. After many births and deaths, he who is actually in knowledge surrender unto me, knowing me to be the cause of all cause and all that is. Such a great soul is very rare. Those whose intelligence has been stolen by material desire surrender unto demigods and follow the particular rules and regulations of worship according to their own natures. I am in everyone's heart as a super soul. As soon as one desire to worship some demigod, I make his faith steady so that he can devote himself to the particular deity. Endowed with such a faith, he endeavors to worship a particular demigod and obtain his desire. But in actuality, these benefits are bestowed by me alone. Men of small intelligence worship the demigods, and their fruits are limited and temporary. Those who worship the demigods go to the planets of demigods, but my devotees ultimately reach my supreme planet. Unintelligent man who do not know me perfectly think that I, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, was impersonal before and have now assumed his personality. Due to their small knowledge, they do not know my higher nature, which is imperishable and supreme. I am never manifest to the foolish and unintelligent. For them, I am covered by my internal potency, and therefore they do not know that I am unborn and infallible. O Arjuna, as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, I know everything that has happened in the past, all that is happening in the present, and all things that are yet to come. I also know all living entity, but no one knows. I also know all living entities, but no one knows. O son of Bharata, O conqueror of the foe, all living entities are born into delusion, bewildered by dualities arisen from desire and hate. Persons who have acted piously in previous lives, in this life, and whose sinful actions are completely eradicated, are free from the dualities of delusion, and they engage themselves in my service with determination. Intelligent person who are endeavoring for liberation from old age and death take refuge in me in devotional service. They are actually Brahman because they entirely know everything about transcendental activities. Those in full conscious of me, who know me, the Supreme Lord, to be the governing principle of the material manifestation of the demigods and of all methods of sacrifice, can understand and know me, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, even at the time of death. Hare Krishna.
Mrs. Rajesh.
I think she's not here. Is Mrs. Rajesh here? Okay, if there's no one, can I read, Prabhu?
Okay.
Okay. Because I just realized I didn't have a slot. All right. Okay. Arjuna inquired, attaining the Supreme. Arjuna inquired, "Oh my Lord," once again, O my Lord, O Supreme Person, what is Brahman? What is the self? What are the fruitive activities? What is this material manifestation? And what are the demigods? Please explain this to me. Who is the Lord of sacrifice, and how does he live in the body? O Madhusudana, and how can those engaged in devotional service know you at the time of death? The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, the indestructible, transcendental living entities is called Brahman, and his eternal nature is called Adhyatma, the self. Action pertaining to the development of the material bodies of the living entity is called karma, or fruitive activities. For best of the embodied beings, the physical nature, which is constantly changing, is called Adibhuta, the material manifestation. The universal form of the Lord, which includes all the demigods, like those of the sun and moon, is called Adi Daiva. And I, the Supreme Lord, represent as the super soul in the heart of every embodied being, am called Adi Yatna, the Lord of sacrifice. And whoever at the end of the life quits his body remembering me alone, at once attain my nature. Of these there is no doubt. Whatever state of being one remembers when he quits his body, O son of Kunti, that state he will attain without fail. Therefore, Arjuna, you should always think of me in the form of Krishna, and at the same time carry out your prescribed duty of fighting. With your activities dedicated to me and your mind and intelligence fixed on me, you will attain me without doubt. He who meditates on me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, his mind constantly engaged in remembering me, undeviated from the path, he, O Partha, is sure to reach me. One should meditate upon the Supreme Person as one who knows everything, as he who is the oldest, who is the controller, who is the smaller than the smallest, who is the maintainer of everything, who is beyond all material conception, who is inconceivable, and who is always a person. He is luminous like the sun, and he is transcendental beyond the material nature. One who, at the time of death, fixes his air between the eyebrows, and by the strength of yoga, with an undeviating mind, engages himself in remembering the Supreme Lord in full devotion, will certainly attain to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Persons who are learned in the Vedas, who utter Omkara, and who are great sages in the renounced order, enter into Brahman. Desiring such perfection, one practices celibacy. I shall now briefly explain to you this process by which one may attain salvation. Okay, Mrs. Rajesh, no problem. You want to read? You want to read, Mrs. Rajesh? Would you like to read from 12? Okay, never mind. The yogic situation is that of detachment from all sensual engagements, closing all the doors of the senses and fixing the mind on the heart and the life air at the top of the head. One establishes himself in yoga. After being situated in this yoga practice and vibrating the sacred syllable Om, the supreme combination of letters, if one thinks of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and quits his body, he will certainly reach the spiritual planet. For one who always remembers me without deviation, I am easy to obtain, O son of Pratha, because of his constant engagement in devotional service. After attaining me, the great souls who are yogis in devotion never return to this temporary world, which is full of miseries, because they have attained the highest perfection. From the highest planet in the material world to the lowest, all are places of miseries, wherein repeated birth and death take place. But one who attains to my abode, O son of Kunti, never take birth again. By human calculation, 1,000 ages taken together form, okay, by human calculation, 1,000 ages taken together form the duration of Brahma's one day, and such also is duration of his night. At the beginning of Brahma's day, all living entities become manifest from the unmanifest state, and thereafter, when the night falls, they are all merged into the unmanifest again. Again and again, When Brahma's day arrived, all living entities come into being, and with the arrival of Brahma's night, they all helplessly annihilated. Yet there is another unmanifest nature, which is eternal and is transcendental to this manifested and unmanifested matter. It is supreme and is never annihilated. When all this world is annihilated, that part remains as it is. That which the Vedantas describe as unmanifest and infallible, that which is known as the supreme destination, that place from which, having attained, one never returns. That is my supreme abode. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is greater than all, is attainable by unalloyed devotion. Although he is present in his abode, he is all-pervading, and everything is situated within him. O best of the Bharatas, I shall now explain to you the different times at which passing away from this world and yogis does not come back. Those who know the Supreme Brahman attain the Supreme by passing away from the world during the influence of the fiery god in the light at an auspicious moment of the day, during the fortnight of the waxing moon, or during the 6 months when the sun travels in the north. So here Krishna is explaining passing away means dying. What is the best time to die? The mystic who passes away from the world during the smoke, the night, the fortnight, or the waning moon, or the 6 months when the sun passes to the south, reaches the moon planet, but again comes back. According to the Vedic opinion, there are two ways of passing away from this world, one in light and one in darkness. When one passes in light, he does not come back. But when one passes in darkness, he returns. Although the devotees know these two paths, O Arjuna, they are not bewildered. Therefore, be always fixed in devotion. A person who accepts the path of devotional service is not bereft of the results derived from studying the Vedas, performing sacrifices, undergoing austerities, giving charities, or pursuing philosophical and fruitive activities. Simply by performing devotional service, he attains all these, and at the end, he reaches the supreme eternal abode. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Chapter 9, the most confidential knowledge. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, My dear Arjuna, because you are never envious of me, I shall impart to you this most confidential knowledge and realization, knowing which you shall be relieved of the miseries of material existence. This knowledge is the king of education, the most secret of all secrets. It is the purest knowledge, and because it gives direct perception of the self by realization, it is the perfection of religion. It is everlasting, and it is joyfully performed. Those who are not faithful in this devotional service cannot attain me or conqueror of enemies. Therefore, they return to the path of birth and death in this material world. By me, in my unmanifested form, this entire universe is pervaded. All beings are in me, but I am not in them. And yet, everything that is created does not rest in me. Behold my mystic opulence. Although I am the maintainer of all living entities, and although I am everywhere, I am not a part of this cosmic manifestation, for myself is the very source of creation. Understand that as the mighty wind, blowing everywhere, rests always in the sky, all created beings rest in me. O son of Kunti, at the end of the millennium, all material manifestations enter into my nature, and at the beginning of another millennium, by my potency, I create them again. The whole cosmic order is under me. Under my will, it is automatically manifested again and again, and under my will, it is annihilated at the end. O Dhananjaya, all this work cannot bind me. I am ever detached from all these material activities, seated as true material. This material nature, which is one of my energies, is working under my direction, O son of Kunti, producing all moving and non-moving beings. Under its rule, this manifestation is created and annihilated again and again. Fools deride me when I descend in the human form. They do not know my transcendental nature as the supreme lord of all that be. Those who are thus bewildered are attracted by demonic and aesthetic views. In that deluded condition, their hopes for liberation, their fruitive activities, and their culture of knowledge are all defeated. O son of Rita, those who are not deluded, the great souls, are under the protection of the divine nature. They are fully engaged in devotional service because they know me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, original and inexhaustible, always chanting my glories, endeavoring with great determination, bowing down before me. These great souls perpetually worship me with devotion. Others who engage in sacrifice by the cultivation of knowledge worship the Supreme Lord as the one without a second, as diverse in many and in the universal form. But it is I who am the ritual, I the sacrifice, the offering to the ancestors, the healing herb, the transcendental chant. I am the butter and the fire and the offering. I am the father of this universe, the mother, the support, and the grandsire. I am the object of knowledge, the purifier and the syllable Om. I am also the Rig, the Sama, and the Yajur Vedas. I am the goal, the sustainer, the master, the witness, the abode, the refugee, and the most dear friend. I am the creation and the annihilation, the basis of everything, the resting place and the eternal seed. O Arjuna, I give heed and I withhold and send forth the rain. I am immortality and I am also death personified. Both spirit and matter are in me. Those who study the Vedas and bring the Soma juice, seeking the heavenly planets, worship me indirectly. Purified of sinful reactions, they take birth on the pious heavenly planet of Indra, where they enjoy godly delights. When they have thus enjoyed vast heavenly sense pleasure and the results of their pious activities are exhausted, they return to this mortal planet again. Thus, those who seek sense enjoyment by adhering to the principles of the three Vedas achieve only repeated birth and death. But those who always worship me with exclusive devotion, meditating on my transcendental form, to them I carry what they lack and I preserve what they have. Those who are devotees of other gods and who worship them with faith actually worship only me or son of Kunti, but they do so in a wrong way. I am the only enjoyer and master of all sacrifices. Therefore, those who do not recognize my true transcendental nature fall down. Those who worship the demigods will take birth among the demigods. Those who worship the ancestors go to the ancestors. Those who worship ghosts and spirits will take birth among such beings, and those who worship me will live with me. If one offers me with love and devotion a leaf, a flower, a fruit, or water, I will accept it. Whatever you do, whatever you eat, whatever you offer or give away, and whatever austerities you perform, do that, O son of Kunti, as an offering to me. In this way, you will be freed from bondage to work and its auspicious and inauspicious results. With your mind fixed on me in this principle of renunciation, you will be liberated and come to me. I envy no one, nor am I partial to anyone. I am equal to all, but whoever renders service unto me in devotion is a friend, is in me, and I am also a friend to him. Even if one commits the most abominable action, it is engaged in devotional service, it is to be considered saintly because it is properly situated in its determination. It quickly becomes righteous and attains lasting peace. O son of Kunti, declare it boldly that my devotee never perishes. O son of Rita, those who take shelter in me, though they be of lower birth, women, Vaishyas, merchants, and Sudras, workers, can attain the supreme destination. How much more this is so of the righteous Brahmanas, the devotees, and the saintly kings. Therefore, having come to this temporary, miserable world, engage in loving service unto me. Engage your mind always in thinking of me, become my devotee, offer obeisances to me, and worship me. Being completely absorbed in me, surely you will come to me. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. The opulence of the Absolute. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "Listen again, O mighty armed Arjuna, because you are my dear friend. For your benefit, I shall speak to you further, giving knowledge that is better than what I had already explained. Neither the host of demigods nor the great sages know my origin or opulences, for in every respect I am the source of the demigods and sages. He who knows me as the unborn, as the beginningless, as the supreme lord of all the worlds, the only undeluded among men, is freed from all sins. Intelligence, knowledge, freedom from doubt and delusion, forgiveness, truthfulness, control of the senses, control of the mind, happiness and distress, birth, death, fear, fearlessness, non-violence, equanimity, satisfaction, austerity, charity, fame and infamy, all these various qualities of living beings are created by me alone. The 7 great sages and before them the 4 other great sages and the Manus, progenitors of mankind, come from me, born from my mind, and all the living beings populating the various planets descend from them. One who is factually convinced of this opulence and mystic power of mind, engaged in unalloyed devotions, service of this, there is no doubt. I'm the source of all spiritual and material worlds. Everything emanates from me. The wise who perfectly know this engage in my devotional service and worship me with all their hearts. The thoughts of my pure devotees dwell in me. Their lives are fully devoted to my service, and they derive great satisfaction and bliss from always enlightening one another and conversing with me. To those who are constantly devoted to serving me with love, I give the understanding by which they can come to me. To show them spiritual mercy, I, dwelling in their hearts, destroy with the shining lamp of knowledge darkness born of ignorance. Arjuna said, "You are the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the ultimate abode, the purest, the absolute truth. You are the eternal, transcendental, original person, the unborn, the greatest." All the great sages such as Narada, Ashita, Devala, and the Vyasa confirm this truth about you. And now you yourself are declaring it to me. Oh Krishna, I totally accept as truth all that you have told me. Neither the demigods nor the demons, oh Lord, can... please.
Understand your personality.
Understand your personality. I've lost the verse. Could you point, please?
Oh, okay. Text 15 now.
Okay. Indeed, you alone... What has happened?
Huh?
No, my screen has become blank.
Oh, I see.
Indeed, you alone know yourself by your own internal potency, O Supreme Person, origin of all, Lord of Lord of all beings, God of gods, Lord of the universe. Please tell me in detail of your divine opulence by which you pervade all these words. O Krishna, supreme mystic, how shall I constantly think of you, and how shall I know you? In what way, in what various forms are you to be remembered, O Supreme Personality of Godhead? Janardana, again, please describe in detail the mystic power of your opulence. I am never satisfied in hearing about you, for the more I hear, the more I want to taste the nectar of your words. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, yes, I will tell you of my opulence, my splendors, manifestations, but only for the, sorry, I'm never satisfied hearing about you, for the more I hear, the more I want to taste the nectar of your words. The Supreme Personality of God said, yes, I will tell you of my splendorous manifestations, but those which are prominent, O Arjuna, for my opulences are limitless. I'm the super soul, O Arjuna, seated in the hearts of the living entities. I'm the beginning, the middle, and the end of beings. Of the Adityas, I'm Vishnu. Of lights, I'm the radiant sun. Of the sorry, Prabhu. Let somebody else continue. My sight is not too good.
Of the Maruts, Mataji.
No, of the Adityas, I'm Vishnu. Of lights, I'm the radiant sun. Of the merits, Marut, I'm Marishi. And among the stars, I'm
Moon.
Of the Vedas, I'm the Sama, Vedic. Of the demigods, I'm Indra, the king of heaven. Of the senses, I'm the mind. And in the living beings, I'm living force, consciousness. Of the Rudras, I'm
Lord Shiva.
1 minute, please.
I'm Lord Shiva.
I'm Lord Shiva.
Your screen is going blank, is it, Mataji?
Of the Yaksas and Raksasas, and the Lord of Wealth, Kuvera. Of the Vasus, I am fire, Agni, and the mountains, I am Meru.
I think you should continue, Prabhu, because my eyesight is not too good.
Of priests, I am, O Arjuna, you know me to be the chief Brahaspati. Of generals, Brahaspati. Of generals, I am Kartikeya. Of bodies of water, I am the ocean. Of the great sages, I am Bhrigu. Of vibrations, I am the transcendental Om. Of sacrifices, I am the chanting of the holy names Java. And of the immovable things, I am the Himalayas. Of all trees, I am the banyan tree. Of the sages, I am the demigod. I am Narada. Of the Gandharvas, I am Chitraratha. And among the perfected beings, I am the sage Kapila. Of horses, know me to be Uchaihrava, produced during the churning in the ocean of nectar. Of lordly elephants, I am Airavata, and among men, I am the monarch. Of weapons, I am the thunderbolt. Among cows, I am Surabhi. Of course, for procreation, I am Kandarpa, the god of love, and of serpents, I am Vasuki. Of many hooded Nagas, I am Ananta, and among the aquatics, I am the demigod Varuna. Of departed ancestors, I am Haryama, and among the dispensers of law, I am Yama, the lord of death. Among the deity demons, I am the devoted Prahlada. Among the subdues, I am Time. Among the beasts, I am the lion, and among birds, I am Garuda. Of purifiers, I am the wind. Of the wielders weapon, I am Rama. Of fishes, I am shark, and of flowing rivers, I am the Ganges. Of all creations, I am the beginning and the end, and also the middle. O Arjuna, of all sciences and the spiritual science of self, and among logicians, I am the conclusive truth. Of letters, I am the letter A, and among compound words, I am the dual compound, and among inexhaustible time of creation, I am Brahma. And I'm also the inexhaustible time, and of creators, I am Brahma. I am also all devouring death, and I am the generating principle of all that is yet to be. Among women, I am fame, fortune, fine speech, memory, intelligence, steadfastness, and patience. Of the hymns, I am the Samaveda, and I am the Brahat Sama of poetry, and I am the and of poetry and Gayatri. Of months, I am Margari, November, December, and of seasons, I am flowering, flower-bearing spring. I am also the gambling of cheese and the splendid and the splendor. Of victory, I am victory, I am adventure, and I am the strength of the strong. Of the descendants of Vrishni, I am Vasudeva, and of the Pandavas, I am Arjuna. Of the sages, I am Vyasa, and among great thinkers, I am Usana. Among means of suppressing lawlessness, I am punishment, and of those who seek victory, I am morality. Of secret things, I am silence, and of the wise, I am wisdom. Furthermore, Arjuna, I am the generating seed of all existence. There is no being moving or non-moving that can exist without me. O mighty conqueror of enemies, there is no end to my divine manifestations. What I have spoken to you is but a mere indication of my infinite opulences. Know that all opulent, beautiful, and splendid and glorious creations spring from but a spark of my splendor. But what need is there, Arjuna, for all this detailed knowledge? With a single fragment of myself, I pervade and support the entire universe. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Wonderful, Prabhu, wonderful. 11, Manu, Vilashini Mataji, are you ready?
Manu Prabhu.
Huh? Manu, yeah.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Manu Vilasavati. Oh, okay. Vilashini Madarji.
Chapter 11, the universal form. Arjuna said, by my hearing the instruction you have kindly given me about these most confidential spiritual subjects, my illusions has now been dispelled. O lotus-eyed one, I have heard from you in detail about the appearance and disappearance of every living entity and have realized your inexhaustible glories. O greatest of all personalities, O supreme form, though I see you here before me in your actual position, as you have described yourself, I wish to see how you have entered into this cosmic manifestation. I want to see that form of yours. If you think that I am able to behold your cosmic form, O my Lord, O Master of all mystic power, then kindly show me that unlimited universal self. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, O my dear Arjuna, O son of Pratha, see now my opulence, hundreds of thousands of very divine and multicolored forms. O best of Bharatas, see here, O best of Bharatas, see here the different manifestation of Adityas, Vasus, Rudras, Ashwin, Kumaras, and all the other demigods. Behold the many wonderful things which no one has ever seen or heard before. O Arjuna, whatever you wish to see, behold at once in this body of mine. This universal form can show you whatever you now desire to see and whatever you may want to see in the future. Everything moving and non-moving is here completely in one place. But you cannot see me with your present eyes. Therefore, I give you divine eyes. Behold my mystic opulence. Sanjaya said, O king, having spoken thus, the supreme lord of all mystic power, the personality of Godhead, displayed his universal form to Arjuna. Arjuna saw in that universal form unlimited mouths, unlimited eyes, unlimited wonderful visions. The form was decorated with many celestial ornaments and bore many divine upraised weapons. He wore celestial garlands and garments, and many divine scents were smeared over his body. All was wondrous, brilliant, unlimited, all expanding. If hundreds of thousands of suns were to rise at once into the sky, their radiance might resemble the effulgence of the Supreme Person in that universal form. At that time, Arjuna could see in the universal form of the Lord the unlimited expansion of the universe situated in one place, although divided into many, many thousands. The bewildered and astonished, his hair standing on end, Arjuna bowed his head to offer obeisance and with folded hands began to pray to the Supreme Lord. Arjuna said, my dear Lord Krishna, I see assembled in your body all the demigods and various other living entities. I see Brahma sitting on the lotus flower, as well as Lord Shiva and all the sages and divine serpents. O Lord of universe, O universal form, I see in your body many, many arms, bellies, mouths, and eyes, expanded everywhere without limit. I see in you no end, no middle, and no beginning. Your form, your, your form is difficult to see because of its glaring effulgence, spreading on all sides like blazing fire or the immeasurable radiance of the sun. Yet I see the glowing from everywhere, adorned with various crowns, clubs, and discs. You are the supreme primal objective. You are the ultimate resting place of all the universe. You are inexhaustible, and you are the oldest. You are the maintainer of the eternal religion, the personality of Godhead. This is my opinion. You are without origin, middle, and or end. Your glory is unlimited. You have numberless arms, and the sun and the moon are your eyes. I see you with blazing fire coming forth from your mouth, burning the entire universe by your own radiance. Although you are one, you spread throughout the sky and the planets and all space between. O great one, seeing this wondrous and terrible form, all the planetary system are perturbed. All the hosts of demigods are surrendering before you and entering into you. Some of them very much afraid and are offering prayers with folded hands. Hosts of great sages and perfected beings crying all peace are praying to you by singing the Vedic hymns. All the various manifestation of Lord Shiva, the Adityas, the Vasus, the Sadhyas, the Vishva Devas, and the two Asvis, the Maruts, the forefathers, the Gandhavas, the Yaksas, the Asuras, and the perfected demigods are beholding you in wonder. O mighty armed one, all the planets are there with their demigods are disturbed at seeing your great form, with its many faces, eyes, arms, thighs, legs, and bellies, and your many terrible teeth. And as they are disturbed, so am I. O all-pervading Vishnu, seeing you with your many radiant colors touching in the sky, your gasping, oh, sorry, Prabhu. Gapping. I can't get it, Prabhu.
Finish.
Gap.
Can you see the screen?
I cannot see the screen, Prabhu.
Interrupted.
Oh, okay, okay.
I can only see Prabhu's face.
Okay, okay.
22 is it, Prabhu?
22.
22. All the various manifestation of Lord Shiva, the Adityas, the Vasus, the Sadyas, Vasus, the Sadyas, the Visvadevas, the two Asvis, the Maruts, the forefathers, the Gandhavas, the Yaksas, the Asuras, and the perfected demigods are beholding you in wonder. O mighty armed one, all the planets with the demigods are disturbed at seeing you, your great form with its many faces, eyes, arms, thighs, legs, and bellies, and your many terrible teeth, and they are disturbed, so am I. O all pervading Vishnu, seeing you with your many radiant colors touching the sky, your gaping mouths and your great glowing eyes, my mind perturbed by fear. I can no longer maintain my stateliness or equilibrium of mind. O Lord of Lords, a refuge, O refuge of the world, please be gracious to me. I cannot keep my balance seeing thus your blazing death-like faces and awful teeth in all directions. I'm bewildered. All the sons of Dhritarashtra's, along with their elite kings and Bhishma, Drona, Karna, and our chief soldiers also are rushing into your fearful mouth. And some I see trapped with their heads smashed between your teeth. As there are many waves of the rivers flow into the ocean, so do all these great warriors enter blazing into your mouth. I see all people rushing full speed into your mouth as mouth dash to destructions in a blazing fire. O Vishnu, I see you devouring all people from all sides with your flaming mouth, covering all the universe with your effulgence. You are manifest with terrible, scorching rays. O Lord of Lords, so fierce of forms, please tell me who you are. I offer my obeisances unto you. Please be gracious to me. You are the premier Lord. I want to know about you, for I do not know what your mission is. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "Time I am the great destroyer of the world, and I have come here to destroy the people with the exception of you, the Pandavas, all the soldiers here, and both sides will be slain. Therefore, get up, prepare to fight and win glory, conquer your enemies and enjoy a flourishing kingdom. They are already put to death by my arrangement, and you, O Savyasachi, can be but an instrument in the fight. Drona, Bhishma, Jayadratha, Karna, and the other great warriors have already been destroyed by me. Therefore, kill them and do not be disturbed. Simply fight and you will vanquish your enemies in battle." Sanjaya said to Dhritarashtra, "O king, after hearing these words from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the trembling Arjuna offered obeisances with folded hands again and again. He fearfully spoke to Lord Krishna in flattering voice as follows. Arjuna said, O master of the senses, the world becomes joyful upon hearing your name, and thus everyone becomes attached to you. Although the perfected beings offer you their respectful homage, the demons are afraid and they flee here and there. All this is all right done. O great one, greater ever than the Brahma, you are the original creator. Why then should they not offer their respectful obeisance unto you? O limitless one, God of gods, refuge of the universe, you are the invincible source, the cause of all the causes, transcendental to the material manifestation. You are the original personality of Godhead, the oldest, the ultimate sanctuary of the manifested cosmic world. You are the knower of everything, and you are all the knowable. You are the supreme refuge above the material modes, O limitless form. The whole cosmic manifestation is pervaded by you. You are the air, and you are the supreme controller. You are the fire, you are the water, and you are the moon. You are Brahma, the first living creature, and you are the great grandfather. I therefore offer my respectful obeisance unto you 1,000 times and again and yet again. Obeisance to you from the front, from the behind, and from all sides. O unbounded power, you are the master of limitless might. You are all pervading, and thus you are everything. Thinking of you as my friend, I have rashly addressed you, O Krishna, O Yadava, O my friend. Not knowing your glories, please forgive whatever I have done in madness or in love. I have dishonored you many times, jesting as we relax, lay on the same bed, or sat or ate together, sometimes alone and sometimes in front of many friends, or infallible one. Please excuse me for all these offenses. You are the Father of all complete one cosmic manifestation of the moving and the non-moving. You are his worshipable chief, the supreme spiritual master. No one is greater than you, nor can anyone be one with you. How then could there be anyone greater than you within the world, within the three worlds, O Lord of immeasurable power? You are the supreme Lord, to be worshipped by every living thing. Thus I fall down to offer you my respectful obeisance and ask your mercy. As a father tolerates the impudence of his son, a friend the impertinence of a friend, or a husband the familiarity of his wife, please tolerate the wrong I have done to you. After seeing the universal form, which I have never seen before, I am gladdened, but at the same time, my mind is disturbed with fear. Therefore, please bestow your grace upon me and reveal me again your form as the personality of Godhead, O Lord of Lords, O Abode of Universe, O universal form, 1,000-armed Lord. I wish to see you in your four-armed form with helmeted head and with club, wheel, conch, and lotus flower in your hands. I long to see you in that form. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, my dear Arjuna, happily have I shown you by my internal potency, the supreme universal form within the material world. No one before you has ever seen this premier form, unlimited and full of glaring effulgence. O best of the Kuru warriors, no one before you has ever seen this universal form of mine, for neither by studying the Vedas or nor by performing sacrifices, nor by charity, nor by pious activities, nor by severe penances can I be seen in this form in the material world. You have perturbed and bewildered by seeing these horrible features of mine. Now let it be finished, my devotee. Be free again from all disturbances. With a peace mind, you can now with a peaceful mind, you can now see the form you desire. Sanjaya said to Dhritarashtra, the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna, having spoken thus to Arjuna, displayed his real four-armed form, and at last showed his two-armed form, and thus encouraging the fearful Arjuna. When Arjuna thus saw Krishna in his original form, he said, O Janardana, seeing this human-like form, a very beautiful, I'm very composed in mind, and I'm restored to my original nature. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, my dear Arjuna, this form of mind you're now seeing is very difficult to behold. Even the demigods are ever seeking the opportunity to see this form, which is so dear. The form you are seeing with your transcendental eyes cannot be understood simply by studying the Vedas, nor by undergoing serious penances, nor by charity, nor by worship. It is not by this means that one can see me as I am. My dear Arjuna, only by undivided devotional service can I be understood as I am, standing before you, and can thus be seen directly. Only in this way can you enter into the mysteries of my understanding. My dear Arjuna, he who engages in my pure devotional service, free from the contamination of fruitive activities and mental speculation, he who works for me, who makes me the supreme goal of his life, and who is friendly to every human being, he certainly comes to me. Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, wonderful, wonderful. Okay, I think Champaka Lata, Saki Champaka, she couldn't make it. So Vaishnavi.
Can, Prabhu, can.
Oh, you're there. Where?
Yes.
Where are
Yes,
you?
Prabhu.
Vaishnavi Sasidharan is you, lah.
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay. Cherry, okay.
Okay, continue, Prabhu. Chapter 12, Devotional Service. Arjuna inquired, which are considered to be more perfect, those who are always properly engaged in your devotional service, or those who worship the impersonal Brahman, the unmanifested? The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, those who fix their mind on my personal form and are always engaged in worshipping me with great and transcendental faith are considered by me to be most perfect. But those who fully worship the unmanifested, that which lies beyond the perception of the senses and all-pervading, inconceivable, unchanging, fixed, and immovable, the impersonal conception of the absolute truth, by controlling the various senses and being equally disposed to everyone, such person engaged in the welfare of all at last achieve me. For those whose mind are attached to the unmanifested impersonal feature of the Supreme, advancement is very troublesome. To make progress in that discipline is always difficult for those who are embodied. But those who worship me, giving up all their activities unto me and being devoted to me without deviation, engaged in devotional service and always meditating upon me, having fixed their mind upon me, O son of Pratha, for them I am the swift deliverer from the ocean of birth and death. Just fix your mind upon me, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and engage all your intelligence in me. Thus you will live in me always without a doubt. My dear Arjuna, O winner of wealth, if you cannot fix your mind upon me without deviation, then follow the regulative principles of Bhakti Yoga. In this way, develop a desire to attain me. If you cannot practice the regulation of Bhakti Yoga, then just try to work for me, because by working for me, you will come to the perfect stage. If, however, you are unable to work in this consciousness of me, then try to act giving up all result of your work and try to be self-situated. If you cannot take to this practice, then engage yourself in the cultivation of knowledge. Better than knowledge, however, is meditation, and better than meditation is realization of the fruits of action, for by such realization, one can attain peace of mind. One who is not envious, but is a kind friend to all living entities, who does not think himself a proprietor and is free from false ego, who is equal in both happiness and distress, who is tolerant, always satisfied, self-controlled, and engaged in devotional service, with determination, his mind and intelligence fixed on me. Such a devotee of mine is very dear to me. He by whom no one is put into difficulty and who is not disturbed by anyone, who is equipoised in happiness and distress, fear and anxiety, is very dear to me. My devotee who is not dependent on the ordinary course of activity, who is pure, expert, without cares, free from all pains, and not striving for some result, is very dear to me. One who neither rejoices nor grieves, who neither laments nor desires, and who renounces both auspicious and inauspicious things, such a devotee is very dear to me. One who is equal to friends and enemies, who is equipoised in honor and dishonor, heat and cold, happiness and distress, fame and infamy, who is always free from contaminating association, always silent and satisfied by anything, who doesn't care for any residence, who is fixed in knowledge, and who is engaged in devotional service, such a person is very dear to me. Those who follow this imperishable path of devotional service and who completely engage themselves with faith, making me the supreme goal, are very, very dear to me. Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Haribol. So 13. Who's doing 13?
Arasi, sir.
Huh?
Arasi.
Okay.
I can't see the screen.
Yeah, it's downloading.
Okay. Okay. Nature, the enjoyer, and the consciousness. Arjuna said, "Oh, my dear Krishna, I wish to know about Prakriti, nature, Purushosa, the enjoyer, and the Purusha, the enjoyer, and the field and the knower of the field, and of knowledge and the object of knowledge." The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "This body, O son of Kundi, is called the field, and one who knows his body is called the knower of the field. O sons of Bharata, you should understand that I am also the knower in all bodies, and to understand this body and its knower is called knowledge. That is my opinion. Now, please hear my brief description of this field of activity and how it is constituted, what its changes are, whereas it is produced, who the knower of the field of activities is, and what his influence are. The knowledge of the field of activities and of the knower of the activity is described by various sages in various Vedic writing. It is especially presented in Vedanta Sutra with all reasoning as to cause and effect. The five great elements, false ego, intelligence, the unmanifested, and the 10 sense and its mind, the 5 sense objects, desire, hatred, happiness, distress, and aggregate, the life symptoms and convention. All these are considered in summary to be the field of activities and in interactions. Humility, pridelessness, non-violence, tolerance, simplicity, approaching a bona fide spiritual master, cleanliness, steadiness, self-control, renunciation of the object of sense gratification, absence of false ego, the prescription of the evil of birth, death, old age, and disease, detachment, freedom from entanglement with children, wife, home, and the rest, even mindedness, aimed pleasant and unpleasant events, constant and unalloyed devotion to me, aspiring to live in a solitary place, detachment from the general mass of people accepting the importance of self-realization, and philosophical research for the absolute truth. All this I declare to be knowledge, and besides this, whatever there are to be ignorant. I shall not explain the knowledgeable, knowing which you will taste the internal Brahman, the spirit beginningless and subordinate to me, lies beyond the cause and effect of this material world. Everywhere are his hands and legs, his eyes, head and face, and he has ears everywhere. In this way, the screen. Everywhere are his hands and legs, his eyes, heads and faces, and he has ears everywhere. In this way, the super soul exists, pervading everything. The super soul is the original source of all sense, yet he is without sense. He is unattached, although he is the maintainer of all living beings. He transcends the modes of nature, and at the same time, he is the master of all the modes of material nature. The supreme truth exists outside and inside of all living beings, the moving and the non-moving. Because he is subtle, he is beyond the power of the material sense to see or to know. Although far away, he is also near to all. Although the super soul appears to be divided among all beings, he is never divided. He is situated as one. Although he is the maintainer of every living entity, it is to be understood that he devours and develops all. He is the source of light in all luminous objects. He is beyond the darkness of matter and is unmanifested. He is knowledge. He is the object knowledge, and he is the goal of knowledge. He is situated in everyone's heart. Thus the field of activities, the body, knowledge, and the knowledgeable have been summarily described by me. Only my devotees can understand this truly and thus attain to my nature. Material nature and the living entity should be understood to be beginningless. Their transformations and the modes of matter are product of material nature. Nature is said to be the cause of all material cause and effects, whereas the living entity is the cause of the various suffering and enjoyment in this world. The living entity is the material nature, thus follows the way of life, enjoying the three modes of nature. This is due to the association with the material nature. Thus, he meets with good and evil among various species. Yet in this body, there is another, a transcendental enjoyer, who is the Lord, the supreme proprietor, who exists and as the overseer, the premator, and who is known as a super soul. One who understands is philosophical concerning material nature, the living entity, and the interaction of the modes of nature is sure to attain liberation. He will not take birth here again, regardless of his present position. Some perceive the super soul within themselves through meditation, others through the cultivation of the knowledge, and still others through working without fruitive desires. Again, there are those who, although not convinced in spiritual knowledge, beginning to worship the Supreme Person upon hearing about him from others. Because of their tendency to hear from authorities, they also transcend the path of birth and death. O chief of the Bharadas, know that whatever you see in existence, Both the moving and the non-moving is only a combination of the field of activities and the knower of the field. One who sees the super soul accompanying the individual soul in all bodies, and who understands that neither the soul nor the super soul within the describable body in every destroyer actually sees. One who sees the super souls equally present everywhere in every living being does not degrade himself by his mind. Thus he approach the transcendental destination. One who can see that all activities are performed by the body, which is created of material nature, and sees that the self does nothing, actually sees. When a sensible man is to see different identities due to the different material bodies, and he see how beings are expanded everywhere, he attained the Brahman conception. Those with the vision of eternity can see that imperishable soul in transcendental, external and beyond the modes of nature, despite contact with the material body. O Arjuna, the soul neither does anything nor it's entangled. The sky, due to its subtle nature, does not mix with anything, although it is all-pervading. Similarly, the soul situated in Brahman vision does not mix with the body, though situated in the body. O son of Bharata, as the sun alone illuminates all the universes, so does the living entity, one within the body, illuminate the entire body by consciousness. Those who see with eyes of knowledge and different between the body and the knower of the body can see also understand the process of liberation from bondage in material nature attained to the supreme goal. Hare Krishna.
Wonderful, wonderful. So 14, who's doing 14?
Me, bro.
Okay.
Chapter 14, the three modes of material nature. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "Again I shall declare to you this supreme wisdom, the best of all knowledge, knowing which all the sages have attained the supreme perfection. By becoming fixed in this knowledge, one can attain to the transcendental nature like my own. Thus established, one is not born at the time of creation or disturbed at the time of dissolution. The total material substance called Brahman is the source of birth, and it is that Brahman that I impregnate, making possible the births of all living beings, O son of Bharata. It should be understood that all species of life, O son of Kunti, are made possible by birth in this material nature, and that I am the seed-giving father. Material nature consists of three modes: goodness, passion, and ignorance. When the eternal living entity comes in contact with nature, O mighty Arjuna, he becomes conditioned by these modes. O sinless one, the mode of goodness, being purer than the others, is illuminating, and it frees one from all sinful reactions. Those situated in that mode become conditioned by a sense of happiness and knowledge. The mode of passion is born of unlimited desires and longings, O son of Kunti, and because of this, the embodied living entity is bound to material fructifications. O son of Bharata, know that the mode of darkness, born of ignorance, is the delusion of all embodied living entities. The results of this mode are madness, indolence, and sleep, which bind the conditioned soul. O son of Bharata, the mode of goodness conditions one to happiness, passion conditions one to fructification, and ignorance, covering one's knowledge, binds one to madness. Sometimes the mode of goodness becomes prominent, defeating the modes of passion and ignorance, O son of Bharata. Sometimes the mode of passion defeats goodness and ignorance, and at other times ignorance defeats goodness and passion. In this way, there is always competition for supremacy. The manifestation of the mode of goodness can be experienced when all the gates of the body are illuminated by knowledge. O chief of the Bharatas, when there is an increase in the mode of passion, the symptoms of great attachment, fruitive activity, intense endeavor, and uncontrolled desire and hankering develop. When there is an increase in the mode of ignorance, O son of Kuru, darkness, inertia, madness, and illusion are manifested. When one dies in the mode of goodness, he attains to the pure higher planets of the great sages. When one dies in the mode of passion, he takes birth among those engaged in fruitive activities. And when one dies in the mode of ignorance, he takes birth in the animal kingdom. The result of pious action is pure and is said to be in the mode of goodness. But action done in the mode of passion results in misery, and action performed in the mode of ignorance results in foolishness. From the mode of goodness, real knowledge develops. From the mode of passion, greed develops. And from the mode of ignorance, develop foolishness, madness, and illusion. Those situated in the mode of goodness gradually go upward to the higher planets. Those in the mode of passion live on the earthly planets, and those in the abominable mode of ignorance go down to the hellish worlds. When one properly sees that in all activities no other performer is at work than these modes of nature, and he knows the Supreme Lord, who is transcendental to all these modes, he attains my spiritual nature. When the embodied being is able to transcend these three modes associated with the material body, he can become free from birth, death, old age, and their distresses, and can enjoy nectar even in this life. Arjuna inquired, O my dear Lord, by which symptoms is one known who is transcendental to these three modes? What is his behavior? And how does he transcend the modes of nature? The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, O son of Pandu, he who does not hate illumination, attachment, and delusion when they are present or long for them when they disappear, who is unwavering and undisturbed through all these reactions of the material qualities, remaining neutral and transcendental, knowing that the modes alone are active, who is situated in the self and regards alike happiness and distress, who looks upon a lump of earth, a stone, and a piece of gold with an equal eye, who is equal toward the desirable and undesirable, who is steady, situated equally well in praise and blame, honor and dishonor, who treats like both friend and enemy, and who has renounced all material activities. Such a person is said to have transcended the modes of nature. One who engages in full devotional service, unfailing in all circumstances, at once transcends the modes of material nature, and thus comes to the level of Brahman. And I'm the basis of the impersonal Brahman, which is immortal, imperishable, and eternal, and is the constitutional position of ultimate happiness. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Wonderful. Chapter 15.
Hare Krishna, bro.
Oh, okay. Hare
I'll
Krishna.
continue. Chapter 15, the Yoga of the Supreme Person. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, it is said that there is an imperishable banyan tree that has its roots upward and its branch down, and whose leaves are the Vedic hymns. One who knows this tree is the knower of the Vedas. The branches of this tree extend downwards and upward, nourished by the three modes of material nature. The twigs are the objects of senses. This tree also has roots going down, and these are bound to the fruitive action of human society. The real form of this tree cannot be perceived in this world. No one can understand where it ends, where it begins, or where its foundation is. But with determination, one must cut down this strongly rooted tree with the weapon of detachment. Therefore, one must seek that place from which, having gone, one never returns, and there surrender to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, from whom everything began, and from whom everything has extended since time immemorial. Those who are free from false prestige, illusion, and false association, who understand the eternal, who are done with material lust, who are freed from dualities of happiness and distress, and who unbewildered know how to surrender unto the Supreme Person, attain to that eternal kingdom. The supreme abode of mind is not illuminated by the sun or moon, nor by fire or electricity. Those who reach it never return to this material world. The living entities in these conditioned worlds are my eternal fragmental parts. Due to conditioned life, they are struggling very hard with the six senses, which include the mind. The living entity in this material world carries his different conception of life from one body to another, as the air carries aromas. Thus, he takes one kind of body and again quits it to another. The living entity, thus taking another gross body, attains a certain types of ear, eye, tongue, nose, and sense of touch, which are grouped about the mind. He thus enjoys a particular set of sense object. The foolish cannot understand how a living entity can quit his body, nor they understand what sort of body he enjoys under the spell of modes of nature. But one whose eyes are trained in knowledge can see all this. The endeavoring transcendentalists who are situated in self-realization can see all this clearly. But those whose minds are not developed and who are not situated in self-realization cannot see what is taking place, though they may try. The splendor of the sun, which dissipates the darkness of this whole world, comes from me. And the splendor of moon and the splendor of fire are also from me. I enter into each planet, and by my energy, they stay in orbit. I become the moon, and thereby supply the juice of all life to all vegetables. I am the fire of digestion in the bodies of living entities, and I join with the air of life, outgoing and incoming, to digest the four kinds of foodstuffs. I am seated in everyone's heart, and from me comes remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. By all the Vedas, I am to be known. Indeed, I am the compiler of Vedanta, and I am the knower of the Vedas. There are two classes of being, the fallible and infallible. In the material world, every living entity is fallible, and in the spiritual world, every living entity is called infallible. Besides these two, there is the greatest living personality, the Supreme Soul, the imperishable Lord Himself, who has entered the three worlds and is maintaining them. Because I am transcendental, beyond both the fallible and infallible, and because I am the greatest, I am celebrated both in the world and in the Vedas as the Supreme Person. Whoever knows me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, without doubting, is the knower of everything. He therefore engaged himself in full devotion service to me, O son of Bharata. This is the most confidential part of the Vedic scriptures, O sinless one, and it is disclosed now by me. Whoever understands this will become wise, and his endeavors will know perfection. Hare Krishna.
Very well. So today we have new people who came for the first time, like Ram and another person. So you are very fortunate to know the confidential part of the knowledge on this day. Great. Chapter 16, who's doing?
Me, sir, Ram.
Oh, Ram, okay.
chapter 16, the divine and demonic natures. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, fearlessness, purification of one's existence, cultivation of spiritual knowledge, charity, self-control, performance of sacrifice, study of the Vedas, austerity, simplicity, non-violence, truthfulness, freedom of anger, renunciation, tranquility, aversion of fault finding, compassion for all living entities, freedom from covetousness, gentleness, modesty, steady determination, vigor, forgiveness, fortitude, cleanliness, and freedom from envy and from the passion for honor. These transcendental qualities, O son of Bharata, go to godly man endowed with divine nature. Pride, arrogance, conceit, anger, harshness, and ignorance, these qualities belong to those of demonic nature of O son of Prata. The transcendental qualities are conducive to liberation, whereas the demonic qualities make for bondage. Do not worry, O son of Pandu, for you are born with the divine qualities. O son of Prata, in this world there are two kinds of created beings. One is called divine and other one's demonic. I have already explained to you at the length of the divine qualities. Now hear from me of the demonic. Those who are demonic do not know what is to be done and what is not to be done. Neither cleanliness nor proper behavior nor truth is found in them. They say that this world is unreal, with no foundation, no God in control. They say it is produce of sex desire and has no cause of other than lust. Following such conclusions, the demonic who are lost to themselves and who have no intelligence engage in unbeneficial, horrible works meant to destroy the world. Taking shelter of lust and absorbed in the concept of pride and false prestige, the demonic illusionate are always sworn to unclean work, attracted by the impermanent. They believe that to gratify the sense is the prime necessity of human civilization. Thus, until the end of life, their anxiety is immeasurable, bound by a network of hundreds of thousands of desire and absorbed in the lust and anger. They secure money by illegal means for sense gratifications. The demonic person thinks, so much wealth do I have today, and I will gain more according to my schemes. So much is mine now, and it will increase in the future more and more. He is my enemy, and I have killed him, and my other enemies will also be killed. My other enemies also will also be killed. I am the Lord of everything. I am the enjoyer. I am perfect, powerful, and happy. I am the richest man surrounded by aristocratic
Aristocratic.
aristocratic relatives. There is none so powerful and happy as I am. I shall perform sacrifice. I shall give some charity, and thus I shall rejoice. In this way, such persons are deluded by ignorance. Those perplexed by various anxieties and bound by a network of illusions, they become too strongly attached to sense of enjoyment and fall down into hell. Self-complacent and always impudent, deluded by wealth and false prestige, they sometimes proudly perform sacrifice in name only, without following any rules or regulations. Bewildered by false ego, strength, pride, lust, and anger, the demons become envious of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is situated in their own bodies and in the bodies of others, and
Blaspheme.
blaspheme against the real religion. Those who are envious and mischievous, who are the lowest among men, I perpetually cast into the ocean of material existence, into various demonic species of life, attaining repeated birth amongst the species of demonic life. O son of Kunti, such person can never approach me. Gradually, they sink down to the most abominable type of existence. There are three gates leading to this hell: lust, anger, and greed. Every sane man should give this up, for they lead to the degradations of the soul. The man who escaped these three gates of hell, O son of Kunti, performs act conducive to self-realization, and those gradually attain the supreme destination. He who discards spiritual injunctions and acts according to his own whims attains neither perfections nor happiness nor the supreme destination. One should therefore understand what is duty and what is not duty by the regulation of the scriptures. Knowing such rules and regulations, one should act so that he may gradually be evaluated.
Fantastic. Wonderful. So 17, Mitra, is it?
Yes, Mataji. Yes, Prabhuji, sorry. Hare Krishna.
Where you're from, Mitra?
I'm from JB.
Oh, okay. You are with Skudai?
I'm in a Tampoi.
Oh, okay. I mean, the center you're going is Skudai.
Yes, correct.
Oh, Skudai Center, okay. Okay.
Chapter 17, the division of fate. Arjuna inquire, O Krishna, what is the situation of those who do not follow the principle of scripture but worship according to their own imagination? Are they in goodness, in passion, or ignorance? The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, according to the modes of nature occur by the embodied soul, one fate can be three kinds: in goodness, in passion, or ignorance. Now hear about this. O son of Bharata, according to one existence under the various mode of nature, one evolves a particular kind of fate. The living being is said to be of particular fate according to the modes he has acquired. The men in the mode of the goodness worship the demigods. Those in the mode of patience worship the demons. And those in the mode of ignorance worship ghosts and spirits. Those who undergo several austerities and penance not recommended in the scriptures, performing them out of pride and egoism, who are impelled by lust and attachment, who are foolish and who torture the material elements of the body as well as the super soul dwelling within, are to be known as demons. Even the food each person prefers is of three kinds, according to the three modes of material nature. The same is true of sacrifice, authorities, and charity. Now hear of the distinction between them. Food dear to those in the mode of goodness increase the duration of life, purify one's existence, and give strength, health, happiness, and satisfaction. Such food are juicy, fatty, wholesome, and pleasing to the heart. Food that are too bitter, too sour, salt, hot, pungent, dry, and burning are dear to those in the mode of patience. Such food cause distress, misery, and disease. Food prepared more than 3 hours before being eaten. Food that is tasteless, decomposed, and putrid, and food consisting of remains and untouchable things is dear to those in the mode of darkness. Of sacrifice, the sacrifice performed according to the direction of scripture as matter of duty by those who desire no reward is of the nature of goodness. But the sacrifice performed for some material benefit or for the sake of pride or chief of the Bharatas, you should know to be in the mode of patience. Any sacrifice performed without regard from the directions of scripture, without distribution of prasadam, spiritual food, without chanting of Vedic hymns and remuneration to the priest, and without faith is considered to be in the mode of ignorance. Austerity of the body consists in worship of the Supreme Lord, the Brahmanas, the spiritual master, and supreme like the father and mother, and in the cleanliness, simplicity, celibacy, and non-violence. Austerity of speech consists in speaking words that are truthful, pleasing, beneficial, and not agitating to others, and also in regulating, reciting Vedic literature. Assertivation, simplicity, gravity, self-control, and purification of one existence are the austerities of the mind. These threefold austerities, performed with the transcendental faith by men, not expecting material benefits, but engaged not only for the sake of the Supreme, is called austerity in goodness. Penance performed out of pride and for the sake of gaining respect, honor, and worship is said to be in the mode of patience. It is neither stable nor permanent. Penance performed out of the foolishness with the self-torture or to destroy or injure others is said to be in the mode of ignorance. Charity given out of duty without expectation of return at the proper time and place and to a worthy person is considered to be in the mode of goodness. But charity performed with the expectation of some return or with desire for fruitive result or in a grudging mood is said to be charity in the mode of patience. And charity performed at the improper place at an improper time to unworthy person or without proper attention and respect is said to be in the mode of ignorance. From the beginning of creation, the three words Om Tat Sat were used to indicate the supreme absolute truth. These three symbolic representations were used by Brahmanas while chanting the hymns of the Vedas and during sacrifice for the satisfaction of the Supreme. Therefore, transcendentally undertaking performance of sacrifice, charity and penance in accordance with spiritual regulation begin always with Om to obtain the Supreme. Without desiring fruitive result, one should perform various kinds of sacrifice, penance, and charity with the word Tat. The purpose of such a transcendental activities is to get free from material entanglement. The absolute truth is the objective of a devotional sacrifice, and it is indicated by the word Sat. The performer of such a sacrifice is also called Sat, as are all works of sacrifice, penance, and charity which, true to the absolute nature, and are performed to please the Supreme Person, O Son of Prata. Anything done as sacrifice, charity, or penance without faith in the Supreme, O Son of Prata, is impermanent. It is called asat and is useless both in this life and the next. Hare Krishna.
Wonderful, wonderful, Mataji. Wonderful. Hare Krishna. Okay, so now we are in the final chapter, chapter 18. So I would like to ask Itigash, would you like to read first 20 verses? Are you there, Itigash?
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay, you read first 20 verses. Then after that, the next 20 verses by Vaishnava Kripa Prabhu from Perlis. Are you there, Prabhu?
Okay.
Vaishnava Kripa Prabhu?
Hare Krishna, Hare Bol.
Okay, so what you read the next 20, okay? So Itigash will read the first 20, you read the next 20. Okay, you can start, Itigash.
Yeah. Arjuna said, Almighty Armed One, I wish to understand the purpose of renunciation, Tika, and the renunciation order of life, Sannyasa, or killer, the Kasi demon, master of senses. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, the giving up of the activities are the best of non-material desire is what learned men call the renounced order of life, sannyasa, and giving up result of all activities. Activities is what was renunciation. Renunciation, sorry.
Yaga.
Some learned men declare that all kinds of fruities activities should be given up faulty, yet others sage maintain that acts of sacrifice, charity, and penance should never abandon. O best of the Bharatas, now hear my judgment about renunciation. O tiger among men, renunciation is declared in the script to be the three kinds. All the acts of sacrifice, charity, and penance are not given up. There must be performance. Indeed, sage penance must purify even the great soul. All these activities should be performance without attachment or any expectation or result. The performance as a material duty or son of Prita. That is my final opinion. 7.
Prescribed duties.
Prescribed duties should never be renounced. Is one give us give up is principles prescribed duties prescribed duties because I can see the
illusion.
Renunciation is said to be
renunciation
is said to be in the mode of ignorance. Ignorance. Anyone who give up perseverances duties as a troublesome out of the fear of a bodily discomfortable is said to have a renounceable in the mode renounced in the mode of passion. Such action never leads to elevation or renunciation. O Arjun, when one performs his prescribed duty only because it's
ought to be done,
and renounce all the materials, accession, and all the attachment to the fruits. Renunciation is said to be in the mode of goodness.
Yeah. Number 10.
Okay, the intelligent renounced situated in the modes of goodness, neither hateful or
inauspicious
work, no attachment attached to auspicious work as no doubt to work.
But work, good.
The deed
12.
12. For one,
no, 11. Number 11. Next 11. Can you see?
11. Is it indeed impossible for one abandoned being to give up all the activity, but he who recognition action is called who has truly renounced. For one who's not renounced the threefold fruits of action, desirable, undesirable, and accurate after the death. Accurate after death, because but those who are in the renounced order of life have no such a result to suffer or enjoy.
Yes.
Almighty Arjuna, according to Vedanta, there are 5 causes for the completion of all actions. Now learns from this from me.
Okay, wait, hold on. So what they call Dinesh, you just pull up the thing first for him. So easy for him. Okay, until 20. All right. Until 20. Okay. So now 14. Number 14. Can you see?
14. the place of action,
Yes.
the place of the body, in the performance, the performer, the various of senses, the many different kinds of enjoyment,
Endeavor.
endeavor, and ultimate, the supreme, the super soul.
Very good.
There are 5 factors of action.
Yes.
15. Whatever rights of wrong actions are made performer by body, mind, speech is caused by the 5 factor.
Yes.
Therefore, one man,
One who thinks.
One who thinks himself the only doer, not considering the 5 factor
is certainly
intelligent.
Not
and
very
cannot-
intelligent. Not very intelligent
Not very intelligent and cannot see the things
as they are.
as they are. One who is not motivated by false ego.
Yes.
Who intelligent, not intelligent.
Intelligent is not entangled.
Entangled. Two is kills man in the world, does not kills. No, he is not bound by his action.
Yes.
Knowledge, the object of knowledge, and the knower are the 3 factors that motivates action.
Very good.
The sense, the world, the doer are the 3
constituents
of action.
Action. Good.
According to the 3 different modes of material nature, 3 are the kinds of knowledge, action, and the performance of action. Now hear them from me. The knowledge by which undivided spiritual nature is seen in all living entities to the entities to the all divided
into
innumerable forms. You should understand in being the modes of goodness.
Wonderful. So this is the first time you're reading such a long this thing, is it?
Yes, Babu.
Very good.
If I'm wrong,
Itigash is one of the miracle happened, Krishna's miracle. Itigash had a terrible accident and he was in coma for how long?
Babu, no accident, Babu, stroke. Stroke.
Stroke. Then you had coma for how long?
For long 8 months.
8 months. And
right hand, left leg.
And suddenly, out of miracle, he woke up. It's a true miracle. And today on his auspicious day, he managed to read. Very good. Well done, Itigesh.
All glories to Lord Radha and Krishna.
Yes. All glories to Prabhupada also.
Yes.
Haribol. Okay.
Thanks to him.
Okay, Prabhu, Vaishnava Kripa, Prabhu. You can continue, 21.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
That knowledge by which one sees that every different body, there is a different type of living entity, you should understand to be in the mode of passion. And that knowledge by which one is attached to one kind of work as the all in all, without knowledge of the truth, and which is very meager, is said to be in the mode of darkness. That action which is regulated and which is performed without attachment, without love or hatred, and without desire for fruitive result is said to be in the mode of goodness. But action performed with great effort by one seeking to gratify his desires and enacted from a sense of false ego is called action in the mode of passion. That action performed in illusion, in disregard to scriptural injunctions, and without concern for future bondage or for violence or distress caused to others, is said to be in a mode of ignorance. One who performs his duty without association with the modes of material nature, without false ego, with great determination and enthusiasm, and without wavering in success or failure, is said to be a worker in the mode of goodness. The worker who is attached to the work and the fruits of work, desiring to enjoy those fruits, and who is greedy, always envious, impure, and moved by a joy and sorrow, is said to be in the mode of passion. The worker who is always engaged in work against the injunctions of the scriptures, who is materialistic, obstinate, cheating, and expert in insulting others, and who is lazy, always morose, and procrastinating, is said to be a worker in the mode of ignorance. Oh, we know well. Now, please listen as I tell you in detail the different kinds of understanding and determination according to the three modes of material nature. O son of Buddha, that understanding by which one knows what ought to be done and what ought or not ought to be done, is that is said, is that what is to be feared and what is not to be feared, which is binding and which is liberating, is the mode of goodness. O son of Pruta, that understanding which cannot distinguish between religion and irreligion, between action that should be done and action that should not be done, is in the mode of passion. That understanding which considers religion to be religion and religion to be irreligion under the spell of illusion and darkness and strives always in the wrong direction, O Partha, is in the mode of ignorance. O son of Pruta, that determination which is unbreakable, which is sustained with steadiness by yoga practice, and which thus controls the activities of the mind, life, and senses, is determination the mode of goodness. But that determination by which one holds fast to fruitive results in religion, economic development, and sense gratification is one of natural, is of the nature of passion, O Arjuna. And that determination which cannot go beyond dreaming, fearfulness, lamentation, moroseness, and illusion, such unintelligent determination, O son of Pruta, is in the mode of darkness. O best of the Bharadas, now please hear from me about the three kinds of happiness by which the conditioned soul enjoys and by which there sometimes comes to the end of all distresses. That which in the beginning may be just like poison, and the end is just like nectar, and that which awakens one to self-realization is said to be happiness in the mode of goodness. That happiness which is derived from contact of the senses with the objects and which appears like nectar at first, but poison at the end, is said to be the nature of passion. And that happiness which is blind to self-realization, which is delusion from the beginning and from the beginning to end, and which arises from sleep, laziness, illusion, is said to be the nature of ignorance. There is no being existing either here or among the demigods in the higher planetary systems which is free from these three modes born of material nature. Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaisyas, and Sudras are distinguished by the qualities born of their own natures in according to the material modes, or chastise of the enemy.
Thank you,
Peaceful, self-control, austerity, purity, tolerance, honesty, knowledge, wisdom, religiousness. These are the natural qualities with which the Brahmanas work. Heroism, power, determination, resourcefulness, courage in battle, generosity, and leadership are the natural qualities of work of the Kshatriyas.
Okay, bro. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, bro. Hare Krishna. Wonderful. Okay. The last, Dr. Dinesh.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Farming, cow protection, and business are the natural work for the Vaishyas, and for the Shudras, there are labor and service to others. By following his qualities of work, every man can become perfect. Now please hear from me how this can be done. By worship of the Lord, who is the source of all beings and who is all-pervading, a man can attain perfection through performing his own work. It is better to engage in one's own occupation, even though one may perform it imperfectly, than to accept another's occupation and perform it perfectly. Duties prescribed according to one's nature are never affected by sinful reactions. Every endeavor is covered by some fault, just as fire is covered by smoke. Therefore, one should not give up the work born of his nature, O son of Kunti, even if such work is full of fault. One who is self controlled and unattached, and who disregards all material enjoyments, can obtain, by practice of renunciation, the highest perfect stage of freedom from reaction. O son of Kunti, learn from me how one who has achieved this perfection can attain to the supreme perfectional stage, Brahman, the stage of highest knowledge, by acting in the way I shall now summarize. Being purified by his intelligence and controlling the mind with determination, giving up the objects of sense gratification, being freed from attachment and hatred, one who lives in a secluded place, who eats little, who controls his body, mind, and power of speech, who is always in trance, and who is detached, free from false ego, false strength, false pride, lust, anger, and acceptance of material things, free from false proprietorship, and peaceful, such a person is certainly elevated to the position of self realization. One who is thus transcendently situated at once realizes the Supreme Brahman and becomes fully joyful. He never laments or desires to have anything. He is equally disposed toward every living entity. In that state, he attains pure devotional service unto me. One can understand me as I am, as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, only by devotional service. And when one is in full consciousness of me by such devotion, he can enter into the kingdom of God. Though engaged in all kinds of activities, my pure devotee under my protection reaches the eternal and imperishable abode by my grace. In all activities, just depend upon me and work always under my protection. In such devotional service, be fully conscious of me. If you become conscious of me, you will pass over all the obstacles of conditioned life by my grace. If, however, you do not work in such consciousness but act through false ego, not hearing me, you will be lost. If you do not act according to my direction and do not fight, then you will be falsely directed. By your nature, you will have to be engaged in warfare. Under illusion, you are now declining to act according to my direction, but compelled by the work born of your own nature, you will act all the same, O son of Kunti. The Supreme Lord is situated in everyone's heart, O Arjuna, and is directing the wanderings of all living entities who are seated as on a machine made of the material energy. O Scion of Bharata, surrender unto him utterly. By his grace, you will attain transcendental peace and the supreme and eternal abode. Thus, I have explained to you knowledge still more confidential. Deliberate on this fully, and then do what you wish to do. Because you are my dear friend, you are my because you are my very dear friend, I am speaking to you my supreme instruction, the most confidential knowledge of all. Hear this from me, for it is for your benefit. Always think of me, become my devotee, worship me, and offer your homage unto me. Thus you will come to me without fail. I promise you this because you are my very dear friend. Abandon all varieties of religion and just surrender unto me. I shall deliver you from all sinful reactions. Do not fear. This confidential knowledge may never be explained to those who are not austere or devoted or engaged in devotional service, nor to one who is envious of me. For one who explains this supreme secret to a devotee, pure devotional service is guaranteed, and at the end he will come back to me. There is no servant in this world more dear to me than he, nor will there ever be one more dear. And I declare that he who studies this sacred conversation of ours worships me by his intelligence, and one who listens with faith and without envy becomes free from sinful reactions and attains to the auspicious planets where the pious dwell. O son of Pritha, O conqueror of wealth, have you heard this with an attentive mind? And are your ignorance and illusions now dispelled? Arjuna said, My dear Krishna, O infallible one, my illusion is now gone. I have regained my memory by your mercy. I am now firm and free from doubt, and am prepared to act according to your instructions. Sanjaya said, Thus have I heard the conversation of two great souls, Krishna and Arjuna, and so wonderful is that message that my hair is standing on end. By the mercy of Vyasa, I've heard these most confidential talks directly from the master of all mysticism, Krishna, who was speaking personally to Arjuna. O king, as I repeatedly recall this wondrous and holy dialogue between Krishna and Arjuna, I take pleasure, being thrilled at every moment. O king, as I remember the wonderful form of Lord Krishna, I am struck with wonder more and more, and I rejoice again and again. Wherever there is Krishna, the master of all mystics, and wherever there is Arjuna, the supreme archer, there will also certainly be opulence, victory, extraordinary power, and morality. That is my opinion. Hare Krishna.
Haribo. Okay, you can bring it down. So we have successfully recited the entire 700 verses of Bhagavad Gita on this Aadi Amavasya. So thank you very much for staying till the last, and also if like some came halfway, but still you made it. You know, today is a very auspicious day, so we pray to the Lordship. Okay, that of course we came, we had in an intention. Even our intention, if we direct to Krishna, is still better than by not doing it. You know, so like the main intention is that we want to dedicate today's reading, okay, to the for the betterment of our forefathers. Okay, so just imagine we have just read starting from 7:30 up to now. All right, 11, exactly 11, I think. 11, we have completed the entire 700 verses. So I request everyone to make a habit to read one chapter a day. Actually, it's not a big deal, right? It's very easy. So you read one chapter a day. If you can't, at least read one verse a day with the purport. Okay, and so with the purport. So you read the verse, here you read the purport very thoroughly. You go through the purport very thoroughly, because in this Bhagavad Gita, as it is by Srila Prabhupada, it contains the rare gem. Okay, the gem of all that knowledge is hidden in that. And as we have read in what they call 1035, you all can recall 10:11. Okay, chapter 10, text 11. What we have, in the translation we saw that Krishna promises he will remove the ignorance which is born out of darkness with the torch of knowledge. Okay, with the torch of knowledge. I don't know whether you all have noticed, but I've noticed, like Ram, when he first started to speak, I think he struggled. Okay, the English words, I think he struggled with his words. The second time he read, he's konjo koranjichi. But at last, I'm surprised that he went on a free flow. Okay, so, and also like Litigash just now, he also struggled a lot because he couldn't, like, he just recovered from the massive coma, stroke coma. And he also, so how did this happen? All right, just now, it's just itself we have seen this kind of wonders happen. Okay, because this is what the knowledge that revealed by Krishna himself. Bhagavad Gita is a very beautiful book. All right, Bhagavad Gita is a very beautiful book. You see, the Bhagavad Gita is Krishna himself. There's no difference. We, like, for we as a human being, we have say like my name is Padita Tarana. Me and my name are two different persons, two different things. Okay, me and my shirt is two different things. But Krishna, is a paraphernalia, his dress, his name, his everything is equal, same, because all come from his internal potency. Okay, there's no difference between Krishna and his dress, Krishna and his peacock, you know, the peacock feather on his head, Krishna and his flute. There's no difference. At the same time, there's no difference between Krishna and his name, because in Kali Yuga, Krishna says, I'll incarnate in the form of the holy name. Okay, so at the same time, in Kali Yuga, at the beginning of Kali Yuga, Krishna gave Bhagavad Gita is under this Bhishma Parva in the Srimad in Mahabharata. Okay, Bhishma Parva, yes, is in middle. So in Bhagavad Gita, everything is condensed. Okay, so let's make a commitment. Like most of you are my fantastic book distributors. Okay, like Nanda Devi Mataji, Karpia Saras Mataji also, and Manovila Savati. All right. So Arasi Mataji, all are fantastic book distributors. So maybe we can start back the book distribution campaign, so that in this 1 month, especially in this month of Purushottama, in the month of Purushottama, they're starting from tomorrow, all right, until 16th of August. Okay, so on this wonderful month, there is everything that you do is going to be multiple. So let's dedicate at least, let's do something. Okay, let's do something. You can increase your chanting, or you can decide to read this Bhagavad Gita every day. If those who have a Bhagavatam, maybe you can start reading Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay, if you don't have that Bhagavatam or Gita handy, there is a vedabase.com or vedabase.io online. You have a free entire collection of Srila Prabhupada's book, free, like just now what we have showed, you know, that the thing, it's there, free, it's given for free. And if you go to this podcast, you can hear thousands and thousands and thousands of lectures. Okay, so one of the lectures that I strongly recommend everyone who want to perfect your bhakti. I mean, this is meant for devotees who want to become serious in your bhakti. All right, so I suggest you to listen to His Holiness Bhakti Vikas Swami. Bhakti Vikas Swami is one of my wonderful Siksha Guru. He truly amazing. Okay, his scholarship, his firmness, his steadiness, and his determination. That is the quality. Like just now we have read. What are the quality? That means steadiness, firmness, right? These are the qualities of a Brahmana. That means purity, cleanliness, determination. All these things are good quality that we have to acquire. But even though we don't have, we might have, I mean, I shouldn't say we, I should say me. I don't have that quality. I'm so fallen, I'm so rotten. So I don't have that quality. So I'm reminding myself, in order for me to improve, so I would like to take this opportunity of 30 days of Purushottama month to really try to strengthen up. All right. At least I couldn't do in this lifetime. At least I'll try to attempt to do at least these next 30 days. So like that, I suggest to all of you are my very dear friends. All right. So we need this kind of determination. So I suggest you to listen to this His Holiness Bhakti Vikas Swami's lecture. You can go to the podcast. You can also, if those who have iPhone, there's a thing called Katha Mrita. There's a big collection. It's a 24 hours radio, Hare Krishna radio from Russia. All right. You can also listen to his this thing. And also His Holiness Bhakti Vikas Swami also has his own apps. All right. You can find out. Okay, the apps there. Okay, so please go on, listen to the lectures. And at the same time, you also can consider listen to the lectures of this His Grace Amarendra Prabhu. Amarendra Prabhu is very expressive or very narrative. Okay, he's very expressive, very narrative. I've seen that many new devotees get captivated the way that he described. Okay, with his simple English. So like that, there are lots of collection. So you can read. So let's make these 30 days as the best 30 days in your last 3 years. So whatever things that you're going to do, it's going to last for the next 3 years, right? Because it has, and not only that, Krishna also promises that in this Purushottama month, he is not going to look at your aparat, your offenses, right? So sometimes your offenses may be your stumbling block, but now this month, your offenses are somewhat rather forfeited. But that doesn't mean you don't go around do you don't improve yourself. So try yourself, try your best. Okay, those who are not chanting, you should start chanting 16 rounds. If you are chanting 16 rounds, try to do more. If you are doing more than that, then if ultimately if you are chanting 32 rounds, 48 rounds, try to attempt to go for 64 rounds. Okay, it sounds tough, but once you try to do it, it's very easy. No, it's very easy. Okay. In fact, I'm also thinking I'll do this. Some classes about chanting, maybe because now I have no time. So soon we're going to introduce the program soon. Okay. So today, Gita Mahatmya. Maybe later, Dinesh, if you can find that Gita Mahatmya, I think we can share the Gita Mahatmya in the group, so you can go and read, or you can go and find out Gita Mahatmya, Gita. Mahatmya means M-A-H-A, Mahatmya, Mahatmya. Gita Mahatmya by Lord Shiva in Padma Purana. You can read, the glories of chapter 1, glories of chapter 2, unbelievable. And in fact, Adi Shankara also propagated Bhagavad Gita, even though that he was in a Mayavadi philosopher, but still he recognized Bhagavad Gita as authentic, and he have also give a hint that this is the one, is the best way of reading. Okay, so anyway, thank you so much. With all your enthusiasm, with all your excitement, you are here, and we started off with 19, we end up with 13. Still, it's very good. All right, so it's very auspicious. Maybe tomorrow you can PM me. You can PM me. Okay, how you feel by today, because I have seen so many people. There was a big transformation after when if they recite 700 verses. It's something, they can feel something different in them. All right, if you have felt anything, so do PM me. And for Aniza and Mitra, if you don't have my number, you can get it from Saki. All right, or you can in fact inform Saki also, right? So she can forward to me. So I would like to know, after today, the 700 verses, please tell me how did you feel when you go to bed, how the thing transformation you feel. It's some kind of miracle will happen. Okay, so if you have any of such, please tell me, because I don't want to tell you now, but one thing I'll tell you, there's one of the one of the person who came for my Gita Gyan, and before that 700 recital, she was suffering from insomnia, suffering from a very bad insomnia, until she needed to take sleeping tablets. So after she finished the entire 700 verses, right? By that time, it took almost 5 hours, because some people can read fast, some people read slow. 5+ hours, she completed. And she said, for a first time, she straight away dozed off without even taking sleeping tablet. Yeah. So a lot of things happen. Okay. And this month, please keep your Bhagavad Gita on that altar and offer fruit, offer flower, offer tulasi to the Bhagavad Gita and worship the Bhagavad Gita. But don't simply worship, also read. You can worship Bhagavad Gita by reading, and also by offering fruit, ghee lamp, flower, all this. Okay, so make it a point. And Ram, tomorrow I'll send you. You want Tamil version, right? Tamil version. All right. So tomorrow I'll send the book to you. So with that, thank you so much. Thank you, Dr. Parikshit, one of my very dear friend, and also Dr. Tineshwaran for being a great support. My gratitude to both of you, and also Dr. Vaishnava Kripa Prabhu, who is a very senior man, 80+-year-old doctor, who are very healthy and very active in very excited in bhakti. All right, so my gratitude to you. And Nanda Devi Mataji, who has been and Karpia Saraswati Mataji, who've been and also Mala Mataji, Arasi Mataji, who has been my great supporter from the day one. I mean, when we first started, my gratitude. And also Saki Champakalata is she's from Ipoh, so something that I tried my method of Sankirtan on her, it worked. So now she's one of the top book distributor. She's a very ardent book distributor in Skudai, and she was trained in Ipoh. So when I first decided to train devotees on Sankirtan, she was one of the first person to join me. All right, so very timid, so scary, so shy, and now today she's one of the best. She's doing very well. All right, so my gratitude to you, Saki Champakalata. And who else I missed? So Mitra Mataji, Aniza, I think you are Mataji also. My gratitude to you for coming and joining this program, and also Ram, who is also my trader, who just got to know about Krishna conscious and Gita, just I think around 3 weeks ago, I think. So my gratitude to you. So with that, we'll end the session. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha, kripa sindhu bevacha, paditanam pavenebhyo, Vaishnavebayo namo nama. Hare Krishna. Good night. Have a wonderful Purushottama month. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare
Thank
Krishna.
you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.